Couple hours left in nice rebound type of a day after we started very, very negative this morning. If you remember, we were down across the board. All of the talk and all of the language in the pre-market was very negative after Apple comes out and says they're going to not increase, cut, if you will, iPhone 14 production going forward for the remainder of the year. So we've seen a nice bounce back, not only in Apple shares back towards that 150 area, we'll talk about that, but that sentiment alone has benefited some of the markets here. 1.5% for the S&P currently, 1.5% for the Dow, 1.25% for the NASDAQ as well. Nice bounce here in Toronto, 1.3% for the TSX. 4.25% higher right now for crude oil. So a nice rally going on in energy markets, helping the TSX, which is primarily energy-based and mining-based as well. 1.5% for Bitcoin back to the upside. There's a look at the big board right now. That is the S&P 500. Looks fairly uneventful outside of a few individual movers here, but 1.5% for the S&P overall. Here's Biogen jumping off the page. 37% still at this point this afternoon for Biogen. Eli Lilly still 7% to the upside this afternoon. If you remember, LLY all-time highs this morning coming off this Alzheimer's result from Biogen. That's helped out the entire group of Alzheimer's related stocks this afternoon as well. These are the industrial names down here. We're going to talk about Boeing coming up and this new order coming out of China for Boeing, 4.25% right now for Boeing. MAS as well leading the way, CARR to name a few. There's individual names here downside. Apple still 2.6, 2.7, depending on when you look at it. But the rest of the hardware names, the software names, and semiconductors back in positive territory. Look at Netflix. I wanted to point out Netflix here, 8.2% to the upside today for Netflix on an upgrade. So we'll talk on Netflix, some of the streaming names as well, catching a bid off of that. Hope your day is going well. We've seen a pretty decent reversal in some of the yields this afternoon. So the 10-year back to the downside, the 2-year back to the downside. Yeah, Fahad, you can go ahead and thank you. So we'll look at the yields coming up here. The U.S. dollar still kind of holding near highs, but it's been that way after all week, let's be honest. Let's touch on a few things we were discussing this morning. If you joined us this morning, Apple was one of those. We'll talk about some of the big tech names coming up here. Tesla with a big day. Again, Boeing as well. I want to touch on that because huge rally. Some of the retailers very strong as well. Home Depot up more than 4% this afternoon along with Costco. But Neil's here. He's going to lead the way with a look at one of his trades from this morning.
Welcome. We do the trade of the day here on Meta, and as always, it's going to be brought to you by Day Trade the World. Check out that QR code below. Start your trading journey the right way. It is all about the strength in Meta, and sometimes it's a little bit about more where it's come from than where it's going to necessarily go. And you can talk about the trend all you want. I do have a 15-minute chart up here. I could have gone a little bit further back. I just wanted to point out, since you were rejecting 150, it has been essentially straight to the downside with what ends up being a bit of a wick bottom. Now, you don't know, this is today, you don't know you're going to get a wick bottom. What you do have is a bottom channel that you can break out of. So you can't know that you're going to get that wick bottom, obviously, but we do have a 134. There's also this bottom channel from the previous low at a 136 into this 135-ish area, 135.5, and that was this resistance right at the close. I got that as a top, and then you have the previous high at 136. So those are the only things that I could work with. And truth be told, coming into today, I had a lot of overhead resistance I was looking for in terms of where you'd want to short in front of. Apple was making some very big moves here. But if you come in and notice that there's relative strength on where it's like, how do you participate in that move? I wasn't thinking necessarily go long in Meta. But once it then held that 134 low and started breaking out, when the market clearly wanted to show strength, well, I will jump into relative strength when it sets up. And if you show me that wick bottom, which at the open, you tested the low, one time 134, and then again right at 9:30, you tested 134. When I'm looking at my higher time frame, all I'm now seeing is a couple of tests of that previous low and then a bounce to the upside. Well, then that tells me there's going to be a breakout setup. So I end up taking the breakout of the top end of the range. This is when the market is trying to decide where it's going. You have resistance overhead. You have Apple looking weak in that moment, heading and dragging everything back into the downside. So I'm going to pay myself out there in front of 137. I took this reload, and this is where it sucks, because I get the reload and instantly getting out halfway up to resistance, and then it slams back down in the bid. This is all in the same 3-minute candle. So I get the stop out, and a lot of times when you get that type of a flush, two things have happened. Either it's a harsh reversal or they've just shaken out the weak hands. And admittedly, I was the weak hand there. What I love about this setup is it gives you a secondary break. And I said this live on the show. I said, you know what? Even if I'm out of this and we don't get a retracement to buy off 134, that 137 breakout is going to be there for us. So allow the market to decide. Once the market was taking out the highs on both the ES and the NASDAQ, there's your 137 long. More confident break because you put in the opening range. I always say at 10 o'clock, go back to the well. Go to the higher time frame, look for your levels, and see if there isn't a trade that is still going to be valid. Meta was still one of the strongest names I could find. 137 broke out. We do our nice scalp into 138. Always going to shotgun it out in case we get that pullback. And then you're holding on for dear life. There's always going to be one thing we can learn from. Even if a trade is up, once we got to 139, you're going to see I got out. We had a wick top at 139. That's where I get out of the last of the trade. Going back in, I see this high from yesterday. And as usual, because you know I like to short, right? I'm going to come right back in and start attempting to short that 139 level. It's not so much that I had to short and stopped out twice and went 0 for 2 on it. It's that there was a good scalp short in here where I could have made some money, and that's the one that I didn't have on. At least once it was clearly above 139, get the heck out of Dodge. That resistance is broken, no longer willing to short it. If it puts a head and shoulders and wants to come back down below, then it's worth it. You got to be able to understand that even if you're looking in one direction, once things set up the other way, you've got to be willing to take it as a day trader. With Meta, that was pretty clear once it set up for that wick bottom on the higher time frame and several breakout trades. I mean, the breakout trades haven't been great for a while, but they were back today in a big way with Meta. That's your trade of the day, brought to you by Day Trade the World.
Yeah, very strong right across the board for big tech this morning. On the watch list was the entire group, as we saw a downtick in yields in the pre-market, which had some tech and growth stocks back in positive territory. If you haven't done so, make sure you grab that every single day. That's what I am referring to, the morning note we send out before we come on at 8:34 free. Before we get into some of that, here's on the Alzheimer's front, once again, CYTH, very, very low volume here, but they just came out and said they're going to commence a phase 2 trial of their Alzheimer's potential treatment, or trial, I guess. So why not on a day when they are all rallying? CYTH with a headline for itself. Here we go, some big time reversal candles on. This is the 10-year over here. That's a US dollar actually right now. Big move down today for the US dollar, but you can see the 10-year here back to 3.74 essentially after topping out above 4 even early on in pre-market trading. Here's the 2-year, same story, back to 4.11 after trading around 4.2, 4.21 in the pre-market. The USD, as I mentioned, downside as well, all the way back to 112.75. We were at 114.5 just this morning. So monster moves back downside, a lot of that having to do with some of the other currencies moving back higher. Let's touch on Apple to kick things off, because we were discussing in the pre-market again this iPhone 14 note that came out after market yesterday from Bloomberg that essentially said they're going to not increase, but at the same point cut iPhone 14 production for the remainder of this year. And they even threw out a number saying 6 million units because of the economy slowing down, demand slowing down. But I was actually reading an article during lunch that suggested every iPhone cycle in the history, this has actually happened. The same thing has happened. They put these projections out in the summertime for what the new phone is going to do and how many they're going to produce. And then the fall comes around and they revise those back to the downside. So this is not a new thing at all, guys.
Yeah, no, hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, thanks for watching. Another big show here today as Apple goes up to 148 here today. Look, I threw some shade, obviously, on that story earlier, and I'm still proud of it. I mean, I also tweeted out that remember when we had this guy, it was a bear, and I was like, oh, let's turn it into a bull. Well, now the market's up 1.5%. Look, Apple being bought down here at 145, my best out is 146.60. It has continued to rip up. We did take the long again at 148, hit that. Now we're long again right now, and just scalping this out again, long off of the 200 period right there. So I sat back down. We were in meetings all afternoon. Come in, take the long, and now we're really cruising here again for Apple. So look. The market's going to do what it is. I thought it was a little oversold. Now, whether or not we can go down further from here, of course we can. I just was expecting. I said something like a 5% bounce this week. Obviously, it's Thursday, so you got to give it to a little bit of next week before we get that. But it was 7 or something straight down days. And I mean, when you're looking at Apple here, it's been a real market leader, really. I mean, it led us on the way back up. It got within $5-6 of its all-time high again when it got to this 177. I believe the all-time high is like 182.50, 183, something around that area. And then it was hit the last couple days. You're under the 50 period. And then it's just strange to me that, as far as I know, everything I was reading before was that they were selling the phones, and there was not going to be a problem. AT&T, Verizon, all these guys talking about upgrades, and I mean, I only had heard positive stuff. So when I came in today and saw a negative note, by the way, I'm going to get another piece out right here on Apple at 94. I mean, we're in the money, 53 cents now on this one. So we'll go, that getting long on Apple was a good idea all day. But needless to say, I think Apple is the market, and it's 12% of the NASDAQ, 7% or whatever of the S&P. Those numbers might be off right now. But if the market's going to rally, I think Apple rallies. I'm going to call BS on that story. We'll see whether or not it's true or not. I haven't heard anything from Apple. It's just a Bloomberg report. So I'm long Apple right here and loving life, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I like 2 levels on Apple today. Well, I liked one of them, and then I traded 2 of them. That's a better way to look at it. I liked 148 as a decision point. At the open, I rejected 148, but it was a weird thing that sort of happened with the quotes at the open. It wasn't with quotes. It was a lot of D prints at the open. And this is the 15-minute chart, you can see that support at 148. You gapped beneath it. It ran up to it right here at 9:30 and then flushed. So that was one missed opportunity for me. You got to own up to it. I said if we failed at 148 in the first 5 minutes, I wanted the short. I didn't get it. And then ended up taking the bottom break, but stopped it out pretty tight right to the low. We got a second chance at that 148 this afternoon, so I allowed it to break. It then failed that level. Once it failed, this is one of those, if the market is trending up, the better way to try a short is usually to allow it to reject the price instead of stand in front of it. So rejected the price, retested, was in the short. It came down and looked like it was headed to VWAP. Now it's grinding back, but as long as we keep that head and shoulders, then I like this short off of that level. It's at 148 for Apple. But the real key about it is, like probably like last week, literally, I would have been short this on the way into 148. And then you're like, oh, stop out. Should I get back in? Maybe you get back in here. Or you can allow it to come back, put in the lower high, and then get back into the trade. It's just an easier way to think about getting into it. Clearly, the market does want to get back. We don't really talk too much about the VIX or UVXY, but right on these lows from the morning. So if you get a breakdown from here on UVXY, this is at the market at its highs as well. I had these 2 lines drawn, but this one's from way back when at 1140. Like if we were to break this bottom, like UVXY could drop another 40, which means there's still room to the upside in the market if we take out these tops, right? Like volatility, you look at the VIX will tell you the same thing. It's just a matter of what you happen to want to look at. So don't be stubborn about some of these tops and think that you can't continue to go further, because I will have my eyes on this. If this starts extending, I don't want to be in these shorts. As much as, we're not going to talk Google. I love Google at 100, but if we break this bottom in UVXY, I'm not going to be shorting Google anymore either.
Let me give you a look. There it is. Desk 2.0 is now Desk 2.10, I guess. What are we thinking? Feeling the trim? Let us know. I think it looks great, to be honest. I love the Apple logo on the TV there as well. But yeah, I mentioned there was an air gun here during the midday show. Randy was busy doing some trim work during the show. But yeah, I think it looks awesome. Let us know your thoughts on Desk Now 2.1, I guess, the official version. Let's go on. Boeing, here's the note that came out in the midday if you missed it. Big move for Boeing, back to the upside. China Airlines finalizing a landmark order for up to 24 787 Dreamliners. So here is this order finally for Boeing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long time.
No, I was going to say, like, I've been talking about this China. I mean, when we were first talking about Boeing a year ago or something, I was like, yeah, wait till China starts buying planes. And now it's come through now. There was something about China and Boeing not too long ago, I feel like, that was like severing that relationship. I don't know if I'm right. First of all, Apple, woo, 65 cents now in the money on Apple. You know, so just nice to see that for sure, man. I mean, it's always nice when you get these orders flying through. Really, no pun intended, but it wasn't bad. But, you know, it's a nice bottom tick. Unfortunately, Brendan's 100% right. I did miss this in the middle of the day, so I can assume that right here there's a big volume spike that happened at about $100.30. Pretty clear right there that that's what that was. It's a beautiful move to the upside since then, and I feel like, yeah, maybe that is a little bit of a bottom there put in. I don't know the value of the deal. I mean, Brendan was just talking about it. I was watching the Apple trade there, but I like it. Yeah, so what I was saying was here, I forget, is this a large? Yeah, so I have to check. We just got, and what's up, guys, by the way, you know, we do want to advertise. We have the cool hats as well here, so hats and merch. I ordered it for someone. I don't know if it was for Luca. I don't know who it was for. It might have been for Prad because you gave him.
Prad's been complaining about it for a while.
Right, okay. Well, anyways, we'll talk about that. Okay, well, here. Anyways, grab our merch. It's on the website there. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Bears vs. Bulls, everybody like that. Yeah, you have a look at all that there, Pradley.
Seriously, one of my small.
I don't know, but if the large is too small, then I don't know what to tell you. Or too big?
The one that he gave me says large.
Oh, but it's not a large. Okay, well, you can have that one.
They do fit a little small.
Merry Christmas, Pradley.
Well, not a little small.
Stop
Depends on your
shorting.
shoulders,
Okay, so all right, as we go there, I just want to talk quickly about Boeing there. You know, if this is the order that comes through, I forget how many planes it was there, but we're going to just figure that out. Obviously, it's out there right now. How many? 24?
24. For 24.
Okay, so 16 confirmed, option for 24 there. So let's just see where we go from here on Boeing. I like the stock. I feel like it's too low right now. So, I mean, look, it's close enough to a monopoly as you're going to be able to be invested in. So I like this name down here. Back to the June lows is 114. We may have just stopped that from happening. So I like it, but, you know, again, I think this is just one of those names where DCA is the key. Dollar cost average if you like Boeing, because could go lower, but that's nice. It's nice to see that bump today. Maybe that's the all clear.
Yeah, there was definitely some opportunity to get some Boeing after it did make the move. It broke out on the news. You're never going to get this. In the first dip, what I like about the first dip is it held support at 131.50, and then you got another breakout. So I'm just looking at it. Okay, well, you break, and then 133 go 50 cents higher. So I'm thinking 132 for a dip buy after 50 held. You did have one test lower, this ugly wick. Ignore that. This is one of these annoying things that'll happen. Like, it was trading up at 132.50, and then you get this wick to the downside. So if you have a trailing stop, sometimes it'll trigger. So you end up sort of just punching out at that top. And then it got up to 133. I gave it up because the market at that time felt like it was getting top heavy. But somehow it ended up being a good out because the market continued higher, and now you're just going nowhere. I don't know that there's going to be a trade this afternoon because it's literally doing that kneel thing where you're now in a 50-cent range while the market's still moving. So I might stay away from Boeing. I think you have to trade it when that news does come out if you can catch one of those pops. Try not to buy tops when you see that. You always want to be buying the dip if you can. At least you know where you're wrong on Boeing. I like them. I think it's a little bit beaten up. I think you're getting a bit of a relief rally in the market. So how much you want to chase it, that's up to you. I think a limited amount is worth chasing in the short term. But certainly, you know, if this gets back to the 100 levels, then it starts to make a heck of a lot more sense. It's good that they finally got this coming through.
Yeah, so I can show you the numbers here, guys, just to confirm for everyone. It's 4.6 billion for the 16, and then they have the option for 8 more in the future, I guess, at a set price or something along those lines. So still, 4.6 billion. Nice little payday for Boeing. By the way, shout out to everyone in Florida. I mean, I'm sure they're not watching because they have no power right now, but stay safe. I saw some pictures during lunchtime of Ian. It's crazy. Category 4 as it came ashore this afternoon. So please stay safe, everyone down in Florida. Lyft shares, we were talking about this morning on a downgrade. It wasn't a great look as well. There was multiple downgrades because they said they're going to freeze hiring throughout the end of the year. So this then happened. That's not Lyft, that's CYTH. But if you have a look at Lyft, guys, you'll see it's up now on the day quite nicely.
Just following the market.
Yeah.
I feel like it got dragged up by everything. I'm sure I'm going to look back because I said it would be more valuable to look at Uber today off the 27 level. So in a second, I'll check that one. I didn't trade Uber today. But Lyft, it's only up 2%. And considering a beat-up name today, as strong as the market is, I might expect a little bit better than that. But it's still pretty impressive. You were dragging into the downside. I think until it retests about 15 to 15.20, you're not going to know where this thing stands, to be quite frank, because when you have this big of a pullback, like it's not an impressive rally for Lyft. And you go to the daily chart, right? Like it's not impressive at all. Like it needs to break back out at 15 to even see the 50 period or some of these recent levels on the daily. It's just another one of these types of names, which at some point, which I guess there's already been speculation, maybe you have a buyer come in. I know there's already been those rumors, but those have already faded back in. Uber is always more interesting. Uber is usually more interesting to trade. I have to try to stop that habit of talking uncertainties. Uber is usually more interesting to trade. I sort of said as we were going over the Lyft story that 27, if you had a wick bottom there, it would be interesting. And much like Meta, you did get a nice little wick bottom, but that's at 8 o'clock. It really didn't test there at 9:30. It got about 97.20. So I can't be mad at that because I wouldn't have had it. I would have had to take 97.10s or 27.10 or closer to 27 even. And it's also doing nothing here. Only up 0.3%. But the story of the day is more or less everything has come back to the upside. If you aren't breaking highs or showing some signs of strength here as we speak, then I'd be a little bit skeptical about you. So I'm not actually looking at Uber and saying that's not that great of a session. To be quite frank, I mean, the market's doing what it's doing. I'd expect a little bit more out of Uber. The kind of bottom that it's trying to put in here at 27, that's a red flag that it's not showing any strength in this market, or not showing more strength, I should say.
Yeah, Uber's NASDAQ, Uber's New York, and Lyft is NASDAQ. That's the right way.
Can't make it easy for us.
Typed it the wrong way there. But yeah, we talked about it earlier today that I really was interested in that 13. I wrote it here on the sticky note. It was one of the names on there. It was the 1335 bottom, so that never came to fruition down there. So today, you don't go short on Lyft. It didn't take out that bottom. The bottom was just made just a couple days ago down here, 1335, basically at the close. Actually, no, it was at the open of 2 days ago. So the minute that wasn't taken out, look, I mean, you got to sort of play the momentum, right, in the name. I don't, look, if the world is solved and everything's all good to go, then yeah, maybe. But for me right now, I'm going to hold off on Lyft. I don't think they're very prominent. I mean, I see them on the road. I shouldn't say they're not very prominent here, but I like Uber. I like the Uber Eats business a little bit better. Lyft, I think, as far as I know, are just the drivers and that experience. When Uber does have a few other things that they're working on, including Uber Freight, and just the name Uber holds to me a little more weight than Lyft. So I would prefer Uber all the time over Lyft. As far as the stock, I haven't really looked at the valuations or anything. I feel like this earnings season is really going to tell you, which one of these stocks that's been absolutely annihilated might be worth owning. And if they can make it out of this hard period right now, then yeah, maybe Lyft is a nice little value play down here, sub 50 period, which is at 16. So not too much more, and then I'll get excited if it breaks above the 50 period. But if you want a bottom pick, I'd rather do it in a name like Uber. I just see more advertising, more commercials, and I know that means more money that they're spending. But here's the daily chart. Oh, that's still Lyft. Come on. The daily chart for Uber is much more aggressive. You could see they're not as close to their bottoms as Lyft is, and they're pretty much at the 50 period. I guess they both are. So I don't know. I like this name a little bit better. I would prefer Uber over Lyft.
Biogen, we were wondering if BIIB was going to be a long at some point throughout the day today. I mean, the answer probably more of a short, but there was a bottom at some point throughout the midday. Interesting note here from the midday, just an analyst essentially saying that it was an $11 billion market cap increase at the highs this morning for Biogen stock. And this note essentially implies that is not enough if this is actually what they're saying it is. and could be the answer to this disease. So if they actually break down the numbers in this article and talk a little bit about what the actual cost per patient would be, and then the amount of potential patients and market for this drug, and that number, 11 billion, should be much higher, is what that note is saying. So anyways, 265 ends up being a bit of support here for Biogen, guys.
Yeah, look, I said this in the morning show, and I think everybody will agree with this. It's an easy thing to say. It's fantastic news. There's just no question about it. Alzheimer's it's tough. Whether you've had someone that's dealt with it or any kind of mental cognitive disease, it's just fantastic news. Any positivity here. That being said, the last time we had a spike of this nature in Biogen, I was simply pointing out that usually you have a very sharp pullback. This is a daily chart, so you can kind of see like the last time, every time it goes up, you do get sharp pullbacks. Maybe not the most extreme one when we saw $500, but usually we have these sharp dips down after that. And that was what I was anticipating this morning. There were a host of other names and ABOS and Longeveron that were to the upside. I was simply saying if it got through 280, try not to hold on to those because it's probably coming back in as someone sells this pop. Now, I think I'm like you. I tend to think there's tremendous upside in this drug, and I know Sava has their own, and all of these could have tremendous potential. That being said, usually the trade action when you get a gap like that is to fill in the gap and people take some profit when that's been the history of the stock. I'd love to see it break out from here, that 275, and maybe it can do it. But if you went to that ABOS this morning, was it ABOS? Was that the right one? Yeah. If you went to that ABS this morning, which actually got a bit of a bid, it broke down in a big way, and I was waiting for $7. Oh, I'm going to kick myself for this one because I was waiting for $7. It never quite got there. Ends up breaking out at 10.20. And this is much stronger. I think sometimes these small caps will do it, but now that I see it rejecting 10 again, I got to check to see about the pay for shorts on this because that 10 level is pretty big on that ABOS. And if it doesn't break that, I think it's a reasonable area. I like Biogen. I like the concept here. I think it needs to get back above that 75. Give it a couple of days to settle itself out. It usually does that sharp pullback, so we should have been expecting it this morning.
Yeah, I'll just obviously echo the same thing. I mean, it's fantastic whenever we get, a potential treatment or I don't want to say the word cure, but that's amazing. Any kind of news on that? I'm gonna just go over to Eli Lilly. There are obviously auxiliary plays, I guess, for this. Whenever there's some sort of a development somewhere else, you got to look at the companies that are possibly working on something similar. And as far as I know, that is right up the alley of Eli Lilly. So a nice little move there for Eli Lilly. They are also taking, I thought Brendan might have set all-time highs today for Eli Lilly. So that wouldn't surprise me. They've just taken out those recent highs right there of 330. This is one of those names that I kind of consider myself saved on. I was about to get out of Eli Lilly, like if we took down some of these levels, but it didn't happen, and now today it's right up to the upside. So this is a name that I've been long, and I think you got to diversify. You got to stay in something that does give you this upside. We had Tony on a couple times talking about why the biotechs are so key and so on and so forth. So I like it in an aging population. I think it's an absolutely no-brainer for that. But just to go back over here, as Apple did dip down a little bit there, it came close and broke down through the 50 period. But I'm going to take advantage right now to get another piece out at 91 if we can on this trade. So we'll get a piece out at 91. If it fills it, it fills it. If not, I mean, maybe I'll just have to level down and take another price. But let's just go to, there it is. Let's just go to see right now what happens if we do take out this 148. So this is another interesting level there. I mean, it was running through us. Another interesting level up here. We've wicked to the top of 148 before. We went long. I came back here and sat down. And I know we've already talked about Apple, but we'll do this in a second. What's that? Oh, big tech. Okay. We'll talk about that in a minute because there's some more names there. But, we went long in Apple early. We got out when it took the 50 period. Then again, more meetings, but came back, saw this 200 period, took it, and now we're long, seeing if we can get it. But the long was really down there at 145 early. This is my number one stock today, Apple, followed by AMD. Notice the price I have on AMD.
Yeah, we were discussing some of the yields moving back to the downside this morning. They've continued all throughout the day. Both the 2-year, the 10-year, even the dollar, big move down today. So that in itself helping not only tech, but growth across the board. I saw ARC up nicely today, but stocks in general, guys, back to the upside as some of these interest rates come back to the downside. That has been a big damper on the market the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, it's nice to see those rates come back. I like 148.10. That's the kind of head and shoulders lower high on Apple that I want to go with. But it's a lot more simple what I'm looking at in Alphabet. And I didn't get the long in Alphabet. I thought when I was looking at the two things that were looking strong in the morning for breakouts, I thought Meta was stronger, but I was trying to work my way into it. I just couldn't really bring myself to go into the long in Alphabet. But when it got to 100, I missed 100 on Alphabet yesterday and was just kicking myself because it was so, I don't want to say it was obvious, but 100 is kind of obvious. And then once it broke down from there at 9:30, it just never really looked back. So as we approached 100, I just said, wait, don't get in. Don't get trapped in here at 99.50 when it slowed down and went sideways. I said, okay, I'm not going to take a thing until we get up to 80s, and then I'm not going to add till it's into that range right up. I happen to get 99.95, and I know there are other traders out there. Like I know someone on the floor was like they were waiting on the offer 97, 98, and 99 because sometimes that's the trade, and it ended up going to 99.97. So a lot of times it'll be when you're taking that trade, it's kind of a fluke where it goes to. You'd be sitting at 92s, you get in. You're sitting at 96, you don't. You know, and sometimes if you're passive, that's the way it's going to be. It worked back and could not break 99 even. I have not reloaded because I'm trying to be patient with it and say, hey, only get a good price. It's looked pretty solid if you had it here at 99.70. Someone was asking that in the chat. Is it still valid at 70s? The problem with that trade is, okay, well, if you take it now, it's already showing you higher lows. This is why I'm not really that eager to add back into it unless you really retest higher, like break this range here, fail again at 100, and then I like the trade. This is a strong trend to the upside. I don't think you need to be forcing the short. Like, yes, this has worked, but you do not need to force your way into it. At that 100 level breaks, it's going to be a very crowded trade because there's a lot of people looking at it, and that just means a little bit more slippage, a little bit more, there's more bids on the way down if it does fall as people are short covering. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why you're not seeing me get back into it. But you got to be really patient. In a strong market, allow it to come to you if you want your prices. If you're trying to short, you're going to get the price. In the long, you might have to chase the long because the market's strong, but the short, you can definitely wait for it when the market's going up.
And bing bong, there we go again. We'll go bang on that one because you guys can see where Apple's at right now. Apple continues to make that move to the high side right now. So, you know, pretty excited here to have this Apple trade for you guys. Just hit 148.30. Just hit 148.30 there on Apple. We got out at 25. We still have a small piece there, but it's, again, another monster there as we talk about big tech today. So the one trade that I've lost on today is going to be this Amazon trade. We did have a PayPal short that didn't work. We got out of the way there. We will discuss, wow, this market is really taking off. Boy, this is a good one. But there's Amazon. This was one name that we were wrong. We tried to go short. We actually captured some profit on the short. And the last one was right there where we took this in at 117. It's only at 117.50 right now. Look at this, like triple topped right here at, you know, this is probably a decent short up here for Amazon. Now that I'm looking at this, why not? There it is, Amazon right there. We've already looked at that. So maybe this is a decent one. Where are we here on a 20-minute chart for Amazon? Again, like I just think this market can rip even more. Like I called the bullish action today, 1.5%. I'm pretty pleased with that. So I don't know if we want to short it, but there's 118. This was a pretty key level that we hit just a couple days ago. Actually, yesterday off the open, we bounced around 118. Wicked as high as 118.30. So we're getting close now. That if you thought that this market was a little overheated, you could definitely put on a short now for Amazon. But we are 0 for 3 or so today. I guess 0 for on there, 0 for on this idea, and then kind of flat on this one, but still 0 on it because we're red on the stock. So we'll go 0 for 3 on Amazon today, trying to short all of these pops. But hey, I still think that if the news is that people are buying less iPhones, then that to me is a consumer problem. And if Amazon just keeps on ripping up, then I would say there maybe is no problem in that spot. So we'll just continue with the good flow here. You know, again, Apple's just motoring right now to the upside. I really like this trade. I know on the midday show there, Brad said 0% chance of getting to 150. I mean, we're not too far away now, but still, as the day goes on, watch out for that 150. That could be a short if we get up to there. I don't think that that's an impossibility? We'll see. I mean, here it goes right now. 148. We're $1. We're $1.10.
Someone just took 50 thou long at the top.
Yeah, exactly. We're $1.10 in the money right here on Apple. So, I mean, we'll just keep on watching this thing ride to the high side. Apple continues to be just one of those names that I feel like you got to get long no matter what here, and then just see what happens for AAPL.
Yeah, and like I said, don't get that short on Google at 99.70 when the market's strong. If you want to short 100, short 100. You know what I'm saying? And here's the ES. Arun talked this morning. He gave a level. He gave an entire sort of litany of ideas, but the overhead resistance you can see on the E-minis, 37.40. This is starting to come into play. I just sort of threw that line up. I mean, the NASDAQ, very similar. I had this line on the NASDAQ drawn from so long ago that I don't even remember where I got this one from, but I have to go back and check to see why I put that in there at 11.65. But you're ways away from that. However, got to talk some Netflix. You were talking about Amazon there, Sean.
Yeah.
Netflix. I mean, like, forget about Meta and some of the, like, everything is strong today. Netflix up 8%. You know what I mean? Like, the NASDAQ is up 1.6, and the ES is up 1.7. Netflix is approaching 10% up on the session. I don't have a long in it because by the time I got to it, it was at 240. I shorted 240 into and this only emboldens you. Like I shorted 240 into 238. It's like, oh, I just won on a short. I'm gonna do that again. Well, I did that again, and like all I found myself doing was working into this as it got to the 242. It ends up pulling back into 240, and then that was it. I took it a third time and ended up getting stopped out. And ultimately, I'm not going to be down on Netflix because I was able to get some of these pops into the downside. But you need to be long, really. If you look at every single time that I'm taking the short and where I'm getting out, and you'll notice something about those are all fantastic long entries. Like, look at it. Long consolidation. There's a $2 pop. Long consolidation. There's a $2 pop. Look where I'm getting out. Like, I get out and finally stop out at 42. Then it supports 42 and goes to 44, right? So if there's something that all of those have in common, they would have been great entry. Not where I got short, but where I'm getting out of those longs. Those are all fantastic ways to get into that position. Google, as I said, 100. Here it is. I just got some more shares in front of that 100 level. You can probably guess what's going to happen if it breaks 100. I'm going to be out. A lot of people are going to be getting out if it breaks that level. I wouldn't put it past Google to have a bit of a wick top. And then maybe shake some people out and come right back in there. I'll try to pay myself at that 99.70 that was being asked about earlier. I'll take some out in that range. That's usually where I was starting to get out, like right around 70 to 75. But 100 hasn't tested it just yet. 99.97 is the high. In this market, could just be a matter of time.
I mean, Apple is now $1.50, $1.40 in the money. We just took out a price level right there at 666, again, 148.66. I think that's what it was. We just took another piece out right there. Yeah, man, I mean, this is a nice little move to the upside here. I don't think it matters the time of day, man. We're really on one lately. This is just another call for me. Look, I mean, AMD at 666, thanks for pointing that out. But again, this is the long from the morning that we still have. Unfortunately, look, I mean, we called the top 69. We actually have it written down today as well. But that top, 68.80, the funniest thing about AMD, guys, is where was the top yesterday? This is why I just continue to trade the same names. AMD's top yesterday, the exact, like, it might even be to the penny. I don't know. I mean, there's a little wick there, but that top candle is 68.73 or 74 right there. Yesterday, I know it was 79 because I was sitting there at 80, remember? But anyways, same top again right there. So that's going to be a target. I'm going to be targeting probably in here 68.30 or so. Like right now, that 0% chance of Apple, it's at 148.80 right now. So we are getting a little closer to that move as that goes to the upside. But just an update here, AMD. Let's see if it takes out the top. I mean, we don't have a huge position now. And I know Gorno was asking, like, look, he wants to have an idea on some of our positions. Like, honestly, it just depends on what the situation is. That's why we don't want to be known for our net. We just want to be more known for the call. Like, I even see on the chat, there's very few times when people are like saying, oh, great trading day, I'm up 3 grand or I'm up 200, because it's all irrelevant as to how much you're up and what you're happy with. So just take it for that. You know, that's the experience here talking. You know, whether or not it's I mean, I'll tell you this, it's more than a couple hundred shares on some of these plays. For me, it would be reasonable. And then if you get the real home run plays that you really feel strong about, you can go in a little bit more. So again, you know, it's a prop floor. We get in and out of our positions before 4 o'clock, and some of the positions we take are seconds, right? Like if you're going to short that Google in front of 100, I mean, you're probably not going to do that, you know, with, I don't know, even like maybe 100 shares, but you're more likely to maybe do this one with a little bit bigger share size, because you have it defined out, you know, you're sort of happy with the way it's going. But if you're just gonna like take a couple positions in the middle here, like, you know, you wanna go long like I just did on Apple there, like 300-400 shares, probably fine. But again, it's up to your own comfortability, right? And it's whatever you're comfortable with. It doesn't matter what myself, Neil, Brendan, Fahad, anybody trades with, man. It's all about you and your own book and what you're comfortable with. Because if you're not comfortable, then, right, Neil, you're going to exit.
No, seriously.
Fahad, what did he say?
No, Fahad,
if you're not comfortable with the amount of shares you're trading, you'll probably exit the trade too early.
Well, that's the bigger thing.
You know, and it's like, and then you'll be looking back and say, oh man, I got scared of my position. But if I just held 1,000 shares instead of 2,000, then I might have given myself a little more leeway, right?
The biggest lesson I think is what really matters for every trader, it's like in poker, right? Like it doesn't matter if you can make the right decision, it's can you make the right decision in all situations. Can you make that call, or can you make that fold if the pot is $10, $100, or $1 million? That's what makes Phil Ivey great. And like I always say, Phil Ivey, it's not like he's not the only poker player out there. I could say Tom DeWan. I could tell you there's other guys out there. But that's what it really boils down to, and that's what makes these guys fantastic. And trading's the same way. I just want to point this out because we just tested the top again in the futures. And I have my black chart up because it's just, I have it here. On that last test of the high of the day, if we can come to my chart for a second. Sorry, guys. You know, on that last test up, you can't really... Okay, suffice to say that on this last spike to the high, it's been really low volume. You can't even see it. It's way down here. No real volume spike on that chart. There you can kind of tell there. You know, it's not kind of hard to say, but this has been a relatively low volume test of the high of the day. And I'm not short Apple, by the way, but I was just looking at Apple as it broke higher. But I'd be cautious when you make those tests of the high, being super aggressive with the longs at the tops. Like if you have yourself a good price, fair enough. But the fact that we are going higher on light volume makes it a little bit easier to drift back to the downside. Google does come back again. If it goes a third time to 100, I'm not even sure I want to reload it if we see it a third time, because at some point you don't get to that level unless you're going to break it. So I'm not going to reload it a third time, very unlikely. I did want to point out some other names that are out there. Man, if I ever get Roblox right the first time, like, come on, man.
That one I know is always in New York.
I know.
For me, that one's fine. There's other names that
I should get this one. It's like, look at Roblox all the time, but I type NASDAQ first anyways. But Roblox, another one up 5% here. Nothing, I'm not calling it Netflix today. Yeah, I fixed it to New York. Why is this one still on NASDAQ? Load. Now I'm going to the black chart.
You got to at least hit it again.
No, hit it again and it'll go? You think so? No.
It will.
I'll go to the 15-minute because the 15-minute's gonna respect. Here's what really grinds my gears. Is yesterday on Roblox, right? Like, I'm essentially working the short at 38. Double top on Roblox. Good short, falls all the way back in to, like, try long at 36 after the short worked. And then when 38, like, where am I when 38 happens on Roblox? And you can take these trades. You can miss out on the whole move, and a significant breakout, even at a high like 38, is gonna be good. Because the market's screaming, it's a significant level, and then you're gonna be able to get a quick 50-cent move. Anyways, I could probably point to a million stocks. It's just, I traded this level yesterday. That's why I'm sort of pointing it out here. It was worthy of that break. I think if it holds that 38, there can be some potential dip buys. I'm a bit cautious about the volume in the market right now, but another one of these strong moves to the upside. 38 looks fantastic for Roblox. I love these double tops when they finally break. Should have had this one even when it got to that high. Brendo?
I want to mention DocuSign real quick, guys, because we were talking this morning. DocuSign was the other one, if you missed it, that came out and said they're actually reducing their workforce by 9%. We were mentioning Lyft slowing hiring. 3.7% to the upside on that note. But here we go, back downside, just breaking support here on a volume alert for DocU.
I like DocU. I mean, we talked, I think I was trading that yesterday. I think we got hit on DocU possibly there yesterday. Holy crap. Uh-oh. Someone's just fallen off a ladder or something, or hopefully it wasn't the person.
Oh, he dropped something.
Yeah, obviously. I don't think it was a person, hopefully. On that one, yeah, it would be a little bigger noise if it was a human falling off there, but I hope everyone is safe, obviously, as we go. We are getting ready to do something amazing here on the stage. I want to thank everybody who's working for that as well on that, sorry. All right, let's just move on now and talk a bit. I mean, there's that Google. I still like that 100 play. We're going to be staring at that. There goes Apple right now, 180. It just got 149 and rejected, so I'm still long. Again, could have taken it out. Let's just see if it does want to get to that 150. We are $1 away from that right there, up to 149. So, and then AMD, same trading going on there. All right, let's move on. I believe we do have Raider Trader coming in a couple minutes as well, so that should be fun. We'll see what he's talking about. I bet you he's going to be talking about shorting Apple. I mean, he's been looking at that play for a while. Maybe something switched. We'll see what he's up to there right now, but that's going to be the Apple trade. And then I just want to go back over one more time to Amazon. Oh man, like, again, every single time I see something like this, I always think like, why didn't I short it? But then I remember that it's up 2.6% today. So Amazon, I think we just got to wait for pullbacks. Here's the 200 period. And I know, like, what maniac trades off of a 200 period on a 1 minute chart? I mean, you're looking at them, but we're just going to wait to see here. If it takes this down, then we grab it. Look how good that 200 period was for Apple right there. I mean, it was garbage here. VWAP held. And this is the thing. When you have a setup, and I know I've asked Andrew this before, and I think it was a question that Brendan asked, and it went to like his setup of his desk and everything like that. But when you have too many lines here, and there's too many things to look at, like, what are you going to do? Take the 200 period, the 50 period, VWAP? But a lot of it is hindsight. Yeah, you got to look back and really figure out, you know, was any of these levels sort of coinciding with anything else you're looking at, right? So for me, on the 200 period, I had these bottoms here of 147. So even if we took this out at 20, I still can give it room back down here to 147. So I think everything is not in a vacuum. You have to look at things on a wider perspective, look at multiple indicators for your trade. And I mean, today, the AMD, you know, there are going to be trades that are easy, right? You dip down in, you get long at that bottom of 666, boom it to the upside. But like right now, I wouldn't really necessarily support this bottom here on AMD because we don't have anything back here. We haven't back tested that level yet. But, you know, if it fell back into here, which would be a dream for any longs, which could happen, 67.20, this has some support with the pre-market highs. So I just wanted to go over that a little bit because I always get, you know, tweeted at. I think that's right. Yeah. Tweeted at, ask questions on Instagram about setups. How did you pick that level? Why this? Why that? But it's not in a vacuum, man. And if it was, then, I mean, everybody would be doing it. Day trading, to me, is one of the harder professions to be to succeed at. I mean, the consistency is very, very hard. So you got to stick with what you're doing, stick with your goals, understand the risk to reward, get those ratios, and diversify your bonds.
Always.
Always diversify your bonds. Shout out to Dave Chappelle and Wu-Tang Financial. All right. I think Andrew Raider might be too young for Wu-Tang. Maybe.
Nobody's too young.
He might be a Lil Baby type of guy. You know that rapper Lil Baby?
Or
the guy that had the diamond in his head there.
Cash rules everything around me. If you're in the game, you know Wu-Tang. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, you got to put cream in your coffee. Get that money.
Of course he knows Wu-Tang.
Does he? Let's see. I'm going to, Brendan,
of course,
without him Googling it, well, he's going to come on very, very soon. All right, let's go over to Brendan and come back with Raider Trader.
He's literally Googling it right now.
I can see you.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Let's bring him on. Here's Andrew Raider back with us once again. Raider Trader, for those seeing him for the first time on social media. It's great to have him back on the show to discuss a pretty negative week. And I want to start, Andrew, by asking you about your in-ear monitors because I'm about to throw this Bluetooth monitor across the room because it's disconnected for the third time this afternoon. So what are you using for your headphones?
So these are actually like these like XB15 ones. I ordered them off Amazon. I actually used to wear headphones all the time, but I physically could not sit down for that long. It gave me a headache just like compressing my head like this for so long. So I switched to earbuds. Best decision of my life. I can think freely, and having them wired as well, I never have to worry about charging them. I just put them down on my desk. So,
yeah, Bluetooth is not ideal. I was actually looking at some during lunch. That's why I mentioned that. Let's talk about the market, because hey, that's why we're all here. It's been a 6 in a row kind of negative week for the market itself. You were on here the past couple of weeks, kind of banging the table on the short side. Tell us where we're at right now. What are you feeling as we test these June lows once again and kind of chop around here a little bit?
Yeah, so if you want to pull up my chart here, this is the magical chart. We said we adjusted this magically last time, but this is still, the thesis is still the same. We think that there's going to be a bottom coming into 340, 350s areas. We think there's still more downside here. So of course we were going to talk about Apple here later on. I know Sean was he was waiting for that. But we were short a lot of names, software. You know, Apple, of course, some of the large caps, as well as some semiconductors like PanW, we've been short. But overall, our thesis here, and I'm going to say it now, I believe that next Tuesday, you can quote me Tuesday, maybe Wednesday if God isn't in my favor. But next Tuesday, I think personally we are going to set a market bottom. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to be the end of the pain, because we might have a bounce and a bounce back and retest the lows. But I think next Tuesday to Wednesday, we are going to set a bottom. And this means that we can open up into early October looking at financial names. So looking at the banks, hammering the banks, Goldman Sachs, and some of those other names. We're also going to be looking towards mid-April, where we're going to get, or excuse me, October, where we're going to get energy names like OIH and oil production names as well. So
a very specific time frame there, Andrew, as far as the bottom of the market. Let's talk. I want to get your thought on the banks. You mentioned the banks there. Mm-hmm. We saw a big pop over the past couple of days, obviously, with what happened in treasury markets. We're finally seeing a reversal today in some of these yields coming back to the downside. Is it temporary, or do we continue?
So we're going to definitely have some more pain here, if not set kind of a more downside there. Once again, new low, we're expecting the market. The key thing that I always preach for financial names, if you guys are trying to pair financials with the market, you're going, okay, where is this pain? What are we doing? We have to understand that the market is going to start eventually to price in things as, okay, maybe things aren't so bad. And so I believe that's going to be start happening next Tuesday is when that bottom is going to happen. Biggest thing I preach is look at financials. If financials are not setting new lows like the market, then that shows us that there's strength in the markets. There's going to be some sort of upside maneuver that's going to position in the markets and going to set rotation into growth. Financials are the foundation for your growth to come out of the weeds and explode to the upside.
I want to get your thoughts on the biotech sector. We had obviously big news today with Biogen, up 40% on the day from an option standpoint. I had a few people reach out and say, how can we play something like this in the future with maybe an options play? You know, you come in, you see Biogen up 50% in the pre-market. Mm-hmm. That's a huge opportunity, obviously, from an option standpoint. Do you look at those types of plays that are very heavily, you know, reliant on news, reliant on headlines, maybe a breakthrough even of some sort? And B, if so, how do you play them?
Yeah, absolutely. So as far as an options trader, we want to get in before these big moves. We can't be buying those tickers like Biogen, obviously, but after the moves up so much. But I kind of said this, coincidence or not, I was actually in BIIB Biogen. 7% of my account was in that stock before we got this big pop here. Now, I did do a 15% of my account split. So I went 7% into BIIB, and then I went 4% into roughly AMGN, and then the rest into Moderna. So we were playing biotech by playing kind of a blanket of healthcare, a blanket of those biotech names, trying to get a pop in one of them. Lucky enough, we did get news on Biogen. That's luck of the draw, but being able to put yourself into that position. We've been saying for weeks, I've been saying biotech. I even tweeted out on my Twitter that biotechs were going to get a rotation. And of course, we're starting to get that now. And who knows, Moderna might be the next popper here.
Ooh, Moderna, I like that one. How's it going, my friend? How's the pineapple pizza challenge going? You mentioned that last time.
Okay, so I went to the local pizza shop here, and they really had the audacity to tell me that they were out of pineapple. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I can, because it's so popular. Of course I can believe it. I mean, it's one of the...
Either that or Neil cut the supply chains off, but...
oh, that's probably what it is. It's probably Dole. Yeah, it's probably the supply chain on that one. I did want to ask you, because you keep talking about this, Neil's going to talk about the day of reckoning next Tuesday, but you mentioned XLF, right? And I think is that where your focus is going to be, if and when this market does eventually rebound? I mean, obviously traders like us, a little bit younger, I know I'm maybe a little bit younger than yourself, but we have a longer time frame here. So I do think that if someone's looking to put something into their IRA or RRSP like we have here in Canada, the financials at these levels. I mean, I have the chart up right here, Fod, if you want to call this up quickly, just to show everybody. We're down here pretty beat up on XLF, man. I mean, this is all the way back down here to 30 bucks, retesting some of these crazy lows, as you could see here, Andrew, and just right now on these June bottoms right here. So is this what you're liking for a rebound? Is this going to be like your number one sector there where we want to focus on would be financials, or is there something else that you're a little more excited about?
Oh, I'm a little more excited about other things. I am excited about financials, as financials is kind of the indicator, but it's also a play. We can play names like GS, Goldman Sachs, and look for banks long there. Once again, our expectations is to have that kind of early October to mid-October rally, where we're going to rally up to 390, 380, somewhere around there, coming off at 340 and 50, hopefully. There is still a little more pain, but definitely names to watch out for, guys. I am looking to get semiconductors. I've been talking about semiconductors, and then we also want oil refinery, OIH names, or XOP names. Specifically, We're looking at XOP. But semiconductors are our favorite. I'm looking at PanW, NVIDIA, and also AMD for those trades long, coming in early October, hitting those day by day.
So a new name there, PanW. Have you looked at CrowdStrike? I mean, a little bit less of a price there, but I like Palo Alto. Is that because you're going for best in breed, or is there something that you're thinking about with that name?
It was a little more beat down. Like I said, the semiconductors have been getting slaughtered recently, way too slaughtered in my opinion. And of course, PanW, CrowdStrike, all those names. I believe, out of all of them, honestly, NVIDIA and AMD are probably my least favorite, just because I like the more beaten down names, specifically like PanW. So we're going to be looking at those, and then hop into NVIDIA once that starts to pick up strength, because it is larger cap stock.
Yeah, perfect. I just wanted to show the PanW screen there so people could have an idea. This split, right? So that's why you're down here to 160. I remember this name, $400 or $500. You're down here to 160. Okay, so PanW over CrowdStrike. I'm going to pass you to Mr. Pineapple Man over here.
I'm going to get one thing out of the way here. First things first, because someone actually sent this to me, and I was like, this is absolutely true. I don't think it's funny. I think it's the absolute truth. And then you're going to see this picture here, the nice little Joe Pesci. I don't know if you can see my screen, if we can throw it up, and hopefully you can see it. An Italian-American immigrant is held and still and forced to watch in horror as pineapple is added to pizza for the first time. That's an appropriate response for if you put pineapple on my damn pizza, because it's not real pizza. I don't even know why I'm saying pizza, because it's not pizza, if that's the case. I have to ask you this, Andrew, because you said Tuesday, right? So I know you talked about wait for the banks to come through. JP Morgan reports mid next month, right? So if maybe it's a secret sauce, you don't want to give it away. Maybe your mentor has a reason for it, but why specifically Tuesday? What are you looking for on that day in particular, if you want to tell us?
Yeah, so specifically next week, we're looking for a big pivot in the market. Next Tuesday, there is part of what I'm going to tell you is source, trust me, bro. And then the other side is also we are coming into earnings season. This is going to create a lot of, a lot of growth here. We're going to see a lot of optimism. And I personally think that the markets are going to turn around to the point where they're like, okay, we've priced in this much so far. We need to say, okay, let's price in some stuff as it might not be as bad as it is. And I think that's the kind of mentality we're coming into next Tuesday. Like I said, I can't really specify why next Tuesday. It is source, trust me, bro. But as far as next Tuesday or Wednesday, I'm 97 to 99%. I can't say 100% or I'll get investigated. But 99% I'm certain that Tuesday will be the bottom.
So, I mean, around here, we like the 93.5%. That's like our level of certainty is different because Fahad has been running his mouth about certain things, like his prowess in free throw shooting. He says he can shoot 93%. So I'll take 99 as a fantastic number. But sort of looking at some of these individual names out there, and I look at the bounce that's happening in financials, actually outpacing the market, which I think we've sort of already covered there a little bit. Now, if we get a relief rally, now my personal view is at some point you come this far to the downside, you're gonna see healthy bounces. That's what happens in a bear market. at what point would you say, okay, that enough is enough on any rally? We're going to start heading back down and retesting some of those lows. I look at some of the recent highs, specifically in the financials here, which are still below the 50s. I'm looking at that 200 period as well. You're going to like, on any kind of a bounce, you're going to start to get that convergence, right? And that's what would concern me. If we get back, start getting into this 90 range, so this is Morgan Stanley, but you can look at any of them, and start getting that convergence to the 50 and the 200 and start rolling over, I'm going to start to think that's enough. Because maybe I'm a little bit too bearish there. But what would be your indication that we see this rally? What are you looking for that would tell you, okay, this has been great. Let's get back to what the market has been doing trend-wise. Or maybe you just think bottom for good until rates start coming down.
Right. So specifically in the markets, what I kind of look at to kind of gauge, okay, how do we know this move is going to continue? How do I look for strength? Once again, on a bigger macro time frame, the banks outpacing to the upside versus growth. Normally, when you have a balance in the market, if growth is outpacing financials, then oftentimes that does not signify a market bottom. However, we do kind of look for that. If there are some odd scenarios where a complementary sector such as biotech or some other names are leading, we also look into that. But as far as what do I want to see specifically in SPY? What do I want to look at to say, hey, does this mean more downside, or do we going to get this? Oftentimes, I'm going to set a target to the upside. And when that target hits, I'm not going to cut all of my positions. I'm going to try to get further out expirations and see where it wants to go, but with less capital. So that gives me room. If the market makers do want to make a chop fest, then I'm not in there getting bloodied out, getting slaughtered to the downside, but I'm chilling there with exposure to the markets, and I can add shorter expiration if we do start to show more strength, fail those retests to the downside, continue higher, push higher, keep rebounding off those demand zones.
So last thing before we let you out of here, volatility, how much does that factor in? Are you looking at the VIX? Do you use it for entry points, BUVXY, any of these tools? Is it in your toolbox, or you just sort of put it aside and only look at it casually?
Yeah, so some VIX that I look at, or some tickers I look at, VIX as well as copper. Copper actually is an indicator for a strong economy. I don't know if much people know this, but it is a financial indicator to us traders. We can actually look at copper. If copper it often does kind of even lead the market. So if copper is setting setting higher lows while the market's creating some of these lower lows or holding, that's often a sign that growth is going to start to move. So we're going to get that. So if you want to check that out, copper, it's kind of weird, kind of wacky, but I promise you, we've been using that for a while, and it's a great leading indicator for that.
It's good to get some fantastic insight and advice from you, Andrew, with one minor exception about that this pineapple pizza issue. At some point, we'll have to do some kind of a challenge where if I lose, I'll have to eat something there. I did it once, and then there was no pineapple on the pizza, but we'll do it again. It was the worst pineapple pizza ever. There was like 3 chunks, and it was not a big deal, but you know, I'm down for it at some point there. Thank you, as always, Raider Trader. Do check him out, man. Fantastic friend of the show. It's always great and fantastic to get your advice. Best of luck. We look forward to Tuesday, and I will trust you, bro.
Oh, Tuesday. Trust me, bro.
I like that. It's like
I don't trust him.
It's like it feels like the dude is like, trust me, man. These are real watches.
The last time someone said trust me, bro, did not end well for me, man. No, just playing around.
Now I want to know, what was that time?
I don't know. I just made
Google
that up.
broke 100, by the way.
I just made that up. Okay, yeah. I mean, as the market continues to rally, yeah, thanks again, Raider Trader, for coming on always. Up $2 now in the money. So we're going to go, yeah, buddy, averaging back in to Apple was the right play there. And there it is, man, 149.13. I just messaged Brad. I don't know if he got back to me. I was like, hey, what do you still think now about the chances of 150 coming through on that? But still, might not happen. We're going to wait to see. Only pennies away now. 149. We're in the money at $1.80. And we took this trade live for you guys, live on the show. So hopefully some of you have this with me again. Apple long. 3-time is a charm. And I looked it up. And I mean, I got to say, shout out to Canada. The pineapple pizza, it was an immigrant from Greece. Here in Canada that has since passed away, but I did look it up, so it was a Greek thing there. So
definitely not Italian.
Definitely not Italian. I mean, you're probably not going to find that pizza served in Italy anywhere. I mean, when I was in...
See what I'm saying?
I love... Oh, no, there's no question pizza, that's not Italian.
Okay.
There's no question about that, but it's called Hawaiian pizza. I actually should have, now that it's made by Greek, like I'm surprised that's Hawaiian pizza. We'll figure that out, I guess, because pineapples, obviously. But okay, right there.
Makes sense.
We forgot about this. So what's up, Maz Market? No alcohol, guys? No, I mean, I don't know what that means,
It's
but
Wednesday.
That is correct. No, it's Thursday, but there is
Thursday.
there is no. Regardless,
It's holy shoot.
whatever the day is, you
What day
guys
is it?
want
What
to.
day is it? It's Thursday today.
I believe it. Oh, it is Wednesday. It is Wednesday. I thought it was Thursday. There
That
you
just
go.
because like you just messed me up. I'm
Not
like, yeah,
just
I'm
that.
going
I
to
think like everyone kind of questioned themselves there, but
I'm like, I'm going to the game tonight.
I
It's
always,
like,
yeah. See, that's
did I miss
what you have to
something?
base it on, right? Is like if you're busy. And I was just thinking, like, what do the kids have? So they had swimming
Exactly.
yesterday. What do they have tonight? Right, it's karate and gymnastics. So I think it is Wednesday for sure. But okay. Anyways, no alcohol. I don't know what that means, but thank you for the $50 there. I guess that's pound sterling. So thank you so much for that. 50 was worth a little bit more before, but that's okay. As we just kid on the
True.
pound, that is getting. Wow, man, some
It's
of the
not good.
currencies there,
not good.
not great right now. Great time to travel if you have USDs, but this is not a shot at the pound sterling. Our Canadian dollar is at lows as well. I mean, not all-time lows, but it's getting there right now. Okay, just thank you, Maz Markets, for that. I just don't know what that question was there. Sean, read me question, what day it was. Okay, there you go. So there we go. I just did that for you there on the chat. Sean, read me question what day it was. So it was Tuesday, and today it is Wednesday.
Yes.
So there we go. Man, how time flies when you're having fun. And there it is, Neil. That looks really good. Pineapple pizza right there. So thanks for that.
what do we even
Fahad.
do? Come on, man. Come on, son.
You know it's Friday when we're talking about, Wednesday
We're all
when
over
we're
the place,
talking
man.
about
All
pineapple
over the
pizza.
place.
But
for a second you had it because I even questioned it internally.
why
I'm
has
like,
no one sent in a pineapple pizza? I mean, we had that one day.
because it's not.
What?
Because it's not pizza.
Okay.
Because the people know.
Right. The people know, but it is pizza.
Now
but,
we're gonna get pineapple pizzas in here. I'm not eating that. If people look, man.
Yeah,
I'm just
that's
saying.
right. You know what, Trader Joe? I am always a day ahead. I am always a day ahead. We got that magic 8 ball, and it seems like the trading we've been doing lately feels like, Apple 149.50. We need to get an alert. Where's Pratt? Get that Pratt alert going right now. We need to get him on board here. Send out the APB for this dude. As Apple right now. Nice little move to the upside. We're really rocking right now. I mean, this has been a great day to trade here. Just holding on to these longs. Not only that, like when I turned that bull around, there was a lot of shade coming through on that play. I said 5% over the next couple days. Half the work is done right there today. It's a 2% move to the upside. Anybody that bought calls, anything, buy calls on Apple. The very first trade I made was long. I only had 2 trades all morning, man. Long Apple and long AMD. You're not going to see anything else in there. We shorted Amazon as it popped back up and got the hell out of the way of that one, ASAP. But other than that, man, we've been long all day. We've been calling some of these longs. We're up now 2%. Oil's up 5%. Whether or not Tuesday's the bottom or not, it's a nice move.
Before Brennan?
This could be, we'll get to Brennan in a second. This could be a trap, though. Like, I don't know if you want to buy at the current levels we're at right now. This market could fall back down at any point, as we know. Brendan.
Yeah, remember we had that 5% down day for oil. That's gone. Speaking of oil, here's Denbury, DEN, just popping up, guys, on some M&A rumors floating around. So the latest to join that party.
Someone in the chat asked me where my out was going to be for the 100 break on Google. I'm already out, and it's mostly because I drew one line. This is the NASDAQ one, but this is the ES. And holding in, if you're buying tops, I'm going to scalp into the top, take the money and run. Like that's the way I want to play it going into power hour here. If we can test this level and break out from there, I think there's room to go. This is the ES, by the way, the E-minis, S&P mini futures here. Well, 37.40, we're right into resistance. Alphabet has not been as strong as everything else. It's up 3%. I don't want to say it's the strongest name out there. That's why I want to take the scalp trade off of that 100. If you get a false breakout at a level like this, at a huge point in the futures and get trapped, I don't want to get trapped. So I paid myself out there pretty quickly. I said I did not want to go a third time. If Google saw this number a third time, no chance I wanted that short the third time through. You can see higher lows all the way. Just a sort of a clean reversal is the way I want to play it. I was looking at Roblox there. There was no dip into Roblox, but it's kind of resisting. As the market just took out that top, Roblox barely took out its top. So I might not love that dip buy. At this point, if you see a 38 dip, I don't think there's anything good about it. If anything, I think looking for fail breaks. You don't want to buy highs in here. I think there's going to be breakouts and good scalp trades to be had. That was a pretty easy scalp on Google to be able to get it. But at this point, I think you want in and out off levels like these at these highs, and that could end up being some of these for the short. You look at something like a Roblox. Uber finally got going, broke up, was doing nothing all afternoon, and it just wicked at 28, even to 28.02. So that a name like this to short off the high makes some sense to me because it was doing nothing all day long, and now you've got resistance on the market and a pretty clean support or pretty clean out at that high of the day.
I mean, we called 150 on Apple, 149.50 isn't that bad. Do we want to show that, Lucas or Fahad, whenever you guys are ready? I can just keep delaying. Let me know.
It's all, I mean, it looks pretty.
Delay, okay. Speak in my ear, man. I honestly, I can't hear this back and forth.
He said 10 seconds.
It's too loud. Okay, so in 10 seconds, we'll show you. I just want to show you the work that these guys have been doing because the veil is off now. So you guys can see that.
Done.
Whenever you guys want to, just do it. Absolutely no problem. You can throw it over there. I'm just debating right here. AMD did top out there at that 68.50. That was kind of the level that we were thinking about. So now if AMD takes out, and this is how I trade, right? No problems talking about this. Like, if now that we've made that move to the upside, if it takes down this 68.10, I'm gone. I'm going to try to respect that level and just get out back into here. Wick top. You take down 68, we can get out. So, you know, it's a nice move to the upside. I feel like we're not going to be giving back that much. I like it with Brendan standing there so they can see the size of it. Like,
get some scale.
You don't want to do that? Oh, you're trying to key it, okay. But I just like it for the scale. There.
I know what they're trying to do.
Yeah, okay. So we'll wait for that. Get that going in a minute. But 60. Just want to give an update. We're still going to hold on to Apple, even though Apple is looking. I mean, it's looking super strong, to be honest with you. But you can see we're nowhere near the 200 period or the 50 here. So let's let this one ride. Little more choppy action happening in AMD right now. So I'm going to give this back to 68.10. 68.10 breaks. We're going to get out of Apple as you go. What the hell is that in the background there? Oh, that's Rob you're showing. Nah, that looks bad.
Are these guys seeing that?
Nah, don't do that.
Is that just us?
But there it is now. They're just having some fun. They put Rob in their... Rob.
I
everybody
think
knows.
I missed it. But.
They put him as a shadow there. Yeah, you. It's fine. Don't worry. It's because your shirt is green. So Rob's working on a green screen. Remember I did that? I was standing. Well, this is way before.
That was a long time
way
ago.
before when we had a green screen, and Neil and I used to do some like little updates and stuff in front of the green. There it is, right there. So there's the shot, and there's Rob. So Rob, you are now on camera live, Trader TV. That's how big that area is. So we got a real great green screen situation about to be dropped for everybody. I'm like so excited to be able to be just standing in there and being like, you know,
there's a lot that we're going to be able to do with that,
or whatever. I think there's a lot of opportunities. Oh, that part's white. Oh, that's cool. I didn't know if that was my skin there, but that's a little inside action there. Okay, yeah, very, very exciting. Apple, by the way, alert, alert, alert. I know Pratty Daddy is somewhere now, but you are now 30 cents away from AAPL hitting $1.50. So let's go. Let's see if this can happen, man. We're in the money, 250 right now. I feel like it's inevitable, but I am going to ring the register at this. I mean, I'm not ringing the register. Let's hold on to this. Let's see if we take that 150 out. Like I said, I don't think this is a push long. I don't think there's any push long in 150 here, but you know, let's just wait to see if it gives it to us. I mean, that 148.80, I'd hate to give back 60 cents, but as the market climbs, so will this, so will the 50 period, and we'll be able to just average it upside. So pretty happy with this position, and let's go. Let's see if Apple can touch that $1.50.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't punch long on any tops here, but it is worth mentioning. Remember I was drawing that line on UVXY? You guys can still see this. We did just break that low. You know, just now, this is a 15-minute chart, but you just took out that support from the morning. There is a pretty sizable gap, so it'll be pretty telling to see if we can actually continue through this. So you have, obviously, volatility hitting a key level there. You have the ES hitting a very key level. Well, some people have asked about DNA. It's up 19%. Kathy Wood's been buying this one up for like a few days in a row now. Like every single day, it's the leading buy for ARK. At least from what I was able to see when I went to that website, up that 19. It's not really doing anything per se right now as it got to this recent high here at 350. So I'm not sure I see a trade in this. The volume is I want to say the volume's gone. Most of the buying was earlier on in the session, and it's kind of just barcoding off the top. But yeah, this has been bought up the last couple of sessions pretty heavily by ARK. That's why it's in the news, and it's gotten to some resistance on the daily. That's all I see. All eyes to me should be on something in big tech. Either it's Apple at 150, or one name that I want to look at is Tesla, because don't look now, but Tesla has finally broken the top. Like, Tesla was relatively weak because I had this long through 284 and it couldn't really go. Now it's starting to take out some of those highs. So it's kind of joining the party into the upside on Tesla, and it has a chance to get to yesterday's tops. So look, Tesla gets to this high, 288 to 289, and we haven't broken the top in the futures. I'm looking for scalp trades, and scalp trade means I want to short off some top with it to find out, because I think risk to reward is going to be a little bit better. And we're about $1, I don't know, like $1.50 away from engaging that. I think Apple gets to 150 first before Tesla gets to yesterday's high, though.
Yeah, I remember when Apple was starting the day at 145, I said it gets to 160 before 130. No one wanted that bet, but it looks like it's going to be a good call.
It was closer to one at the time.
No, it was closer to 130.
60.
No, because it was 143.
It was 147. Never got to 143.
It was 145 for sure.
It was 140. At the time, it was 147.
Okay. Still, no one took the bet. All right, let's go over to Brendo. What's up?
Some little ones popping up. Here's Sober Safe. Remember we were talking about this going back to last week, I think it was. SOBR up 70% today. Big volume spike here, trying to get back to day highs. No additional news on this. Remember, they make those devices for automobiles, so you can't start your car unless you blow clean, I guess, on Sober Safe, guys.
I still don't know if that's actually going to... I think, look, I have nothing against the concept. I think it's a good concept. I just think I'm a little skeptical that will actually pass widespread, which they would need. But it's certainly a good concept. As I was sort of saying, that 3740 did get a rejection. I looked at a firm. Someone talked about a firm at 21. It didn't get there. But we did have the fail break at 28 on Uber, so I jumped into that. Apple is not quite close enough. I was just saying with Google, if you're going to play like the 100 short, wait for 100. So if you're going to play, whoops, I just typed in Google. Yeah, if you're going to play 100, wait for 100. But the same thing with Apple. If you're going to play 150, wait for 150. So it's not there yet. It is getting rather close. I think you got to wait for the actual high before you even take a shot at it. If we're below 37.40 and still rejecting that level in the futures, I think it's worth the risk to the reward. Netflix is another one which, like, it's almost 10% to the upside. And I'm never forgetting that 10% number again, because when you see 10s, a lot of times to the downside and to the upside, you get a clean rejection. That's going to sit in about $1 or so. So like 246 and change is going to be that number. So Netflix as well, getting into a pretty key price. When you get major sort of resistance across the board, sometimes it can signal a bit of a turn. I think you have a chance here, Netflix, at that 10% mark as well.
All right, I just put a stop order in because honestly, like, this Apple 150 call, I'm actually surprised that it's just ripping up here like so much today. We talked about it being, a bullshit call by Bloomberg here earlier. Looks to be correct on that. We'll wait. But I just put a stop in. Like, to me, if it gets 150, it's great. Like, we're already in this trade, so it's like, honestly, 25 more pennies. But we're just going to get out if it takes out. I was just looking. I actually put a stop at 40. So if we take down 149.40, then we'll get out. Let's just go here. Because, like, I could just get out now, but then it's like if it hits 150, so I'm kind of giving it that 30 cents, right? Like, if it goes to 150, great. We'll probably get out, and then if not, we'll be able to watch this thing hopefully rip to 151 or something. But right there, to give it 30 cents upside, 30 cents downside, I like that sort of risk. So let's do that. If it hits 150, great. Either way, this is going to be a win-win situation for us. So let's just continue with that. And then see if it does eventually come to fruition here on a nice little take here for Apple to the upside. So let's go. That's going to be my new out, 149.50, 149.40 break downside. And then AMD is the same thing, except for I'm just trying to give this to 15. If we break back down below here, I don't really have any upside targets. I mean, for some reason, it's pretty weak right now. So no, I don't really think that we're going to see, more of a move up right here. So let's get out of this. I don't want to short the market. We're still well up. Like, we have to be below the 50 period if I'm going to do something like that. So we're going to wait right now on the NASDAQ here for shorting anything. But we are going to capture profit. We've already captured a hell of a lot of profit on these names today, but we're going to try to capture a bit more if it breaks back down below, like I said, like right around here, like 68.15, 68.16, something like that. And then the Apple trade might come in sooner rather than later because the market is pulling back. And no surprise there, man. 149.80. I mean, that's pretty close to 150. So happy, could have taken it out. Let's wait to see. Risk to reward. These are those trailing stops that we're talking about. I'm giving it like 30 cents to the downside because I'm expecting at least a 30-cent move. So that's what we're going to do. Either way, it's a $2 winner on Apple, and we'll end our day with that probably. Apple and AMD, and then maybe look for some more shorts. The market's faded off pretty dramatically in some of these afternoons. So maybe that's the call here. Remember, the bottom's coming Tuesday, apparently.
Yeah, trust me, bro. I love the whole, because usually when people say that, it usually means don't trust me. But look, we'll see what happens on Tuesday. I'm kind of interested what it might be. I'm racking my head. I'm like, who's reporting? Is there an economic number I'm forgetting about? Like, what is it about that Tuesday? Look, I mean, I understand like T+2, and then you get expirations on weeklies and Fridays, and sometimes, but usually that means you look for squeezes on Tuesday, like the meme stocks.
Isn't that when earnings? Isn't that when banks start reporting?
I thought maybe they do start. Maybe it's the first bank reporting.
I think that's what he was
Tuesday.
referring to. He just didn't want to say it.
But there was a thing where a lot of times the best longs and some of the squeeze plays is you'd come in on Tuesday and you'd see that like that'd be a good day for them to go. What is not turning around at the high of the day, and because people keep saying, I'll look at Mullen when people bring it in, but I want to make sure, A, it's doing volume and actually moving, and it's actually moving today. So there you go. Mullen making some power moves. If you remember, the last time I traded this stock was around that 45 level. If it gets to 50, I think it gets pretty spicy, but Mullen off of its schneid, getting a 30 bottom. I'm pretty sure I was saying wait for it. Like if it gets to like 25 cents, I think it's going to make some sense. Just go hero for a long because I think you get some interesting stop levels. It never got there, but let's keep in mind what the stock has done since it failed at $1. Like this is not a good look for Mullen. It's been pretty weak. I wish I didn't get Apple short because I waited for it. I'm only in Uber right now. I wanted one closer to 150. It looks like we're going to get the turn here. And the same thing with Tesla, right? Like I know Tesla never really got anywhere close to yesterday's high. However, and I drew the line on both charts, so we tested that resistance, and this is not my line. I literally just heard a room this morning. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's double top last couple of days, 37.40 above it. I'll draw the line in there just to see if we get to that level, maybe it'll become useful. And it looks like it has because you're getting a bit of a top in the markets. I'm just looking at something that might make sense for a bit of a curl, and Uber was the only thing I found. Like, kind of in no man's land. I don't like Google up here. Netflix, I mean, you have to get a pretty darn good level. I wanted 246 to test up there at that 10% mark to jump in because fighting Netflix has been the toughest out there because this has been, of all the big tech, this is the strongest one that you're going to be able to find. And people keep saying Tilray. Tilray's not moving. Tilray's at $3, which good for Tilray. I mean, a lot of things are up today, and that's on the NASDAQ, of course. It's just sitting here doing nothing at the $3 level. $2.99, I should say, is the high of the day. Up 6% as everything is to the upside. But really, it's kind of going sideways. It was better action this morning and better action last week, obviously.
I'm just going to copy, tag Trader Prad here, at Trader Prad, as we just had some good time here talking about that 150. But that's it, man. Market is not red today, but we will sell on that red news, that red move down for Apple. And there it is. We got out. We're just trying to be as disciplined as we can. We said that already. Just making sure that we captured profits. It broke 40. It did wick down to 27 or 28 right there. So we'll see whether or not. Again, these wick bottom, this is not a real wick bottom, but this is, like it actually got down there. But again, it's not really followed by a hell of a lot of volume. So, that's, could be a sign here that we maybe are turning around. So there we are. We're out right now. You guys could get out with me. Either way, it's a $2 win there. $1.97, sorry, on that last part. So $1.97 off that last win. Again, we got the majority of them out here at 148. So it's realistically just a 60-cent win or so for us. But then when you average it all up, that's a 148.70, and there's a 149.40 for the last piece. Now the only thing we have left is AMD, which is getting a little bit better there. So now it's up to 15. We'll see. As I said, we'll watch this 50 period come up there. Oh, and those of you asking again, someone did message me on Twitter about this. All my averages are SMAs, so simple moving averages, and pretty much everything I look off of is a 1 minute chart. The 20 period, I really just sit here and just stare at it, and I just kind of like look at this and say like, okay, you know, what are some key levels on the 20-minute chart? You see, I don't even have volume up on here, just to see like this top. So that's where like AMD again, 6860. You know, if that can come into play, then would like it. So you know, that's going to be another play.
Oh, that's a different chart.
Yeah, this is just I don't even have volume. Oh yeah, it looks like I do, right?
Yeah,
there it is.
that's
So yeah,
my
on the 20-minute, there's no volume. There you go. Put that down. That was true. Good point there. No volume on this chart, but anyways, I just like to keep it simple, stupid, because honestly, like. When I'm looking at charts, most of my plays are on momentum and then just on overall feeling. So I'm not like a big, you know, technical guy. Fibonacci this, retracements that. I mean, they work, and that's great if that's going to be part of your repertoire. But like I said, what is that? Trading in the Zone is the book you like. The other one was Market.
That's not my. Look, I know the book.
Well, it's the one that. Is that Annie Duke one?
No, Annie Duke is.
Oh, that's the one I meant.
Thinking in Bets.
Thinking in Bets.
Thinking in Bets isn't even a trading book.
Right. Trading in the Zone was the one I'm going to read.
Yeah, like so. Thinking in Bets is my favorite book out there. It's Annie Duke's a poker player, and essentially it's about how to evaluate and sort of judge and learn from your decision-making process. And it's not about like do not think results based. Sort of think about you have to evaluate a decision based on the information that you had at that time. Right. Like, and the best example of that is if you go all in, do 7 against aces and double up, that doesn't mean it was a good decision. Yeah, you won. That's nice, but who cares? That was a bad call. So you always sort of have to look at it from like, did it make sense? And in trading, that just means, okay, well, if you did it 10 times out of 10, does it make sense? And so always go back to that. On the EMA thing, I always felt that I could be dead wrong about this. I always felt that if you just say a moving average, you mean the simple. And if you want to talk about the exponential, you should say the exponential. Maybe I'm wrong about. If you ever hear me say moving average, I always mean simple, unless you specifically say exponential. That's just the way I've always thought about it. But if I'm wrong, then I stand corrected. We're pennies away, not pennies away. We're a dollar away, but getting really close to this level on Tesla. I want to be very picky about looking for anything. I scalped along on Google. I should have held on to it because. It did get a little bit higher. It got up to like 150. I took my best outs in the 30 range because I wanted to make sure I'm getting in and out. The market was on resistance, so if I'm buying at the top, I want to get out when the getting is good. So we'll be very patient with any shorts. Like I don't want Apple till 150. I don't want Tesla till that 288.5 level. Uber just happened to set up. That's why you see me in it. And we get the imbalances, which I don't know if they matter today. In about 3 minutes, we'll get an early look on those. When the market's moving this much, I'd have to be really overwhelmed to care too much about the imbalances.
Oh. I mean, we could do something here if we want. Wow, AMD really, really taking off here right now. You know, we could get to 68.80. Maybe we just put that order. I mean, we only got a half hour more. The market is just booming right now. Like, I don't know, up to 2.1% now. And again, I just looked at Twitter and a lot of people saying thanks for this bull run because they get more puts. I mean, I agree, man. I mean, if you want, that's what I'm saying. I don't like, trust me, I'm not phoning saying let's put some money to work right now. I feel like it's a nice move back up. I don't want to sell any of my longs, and that's the trap, right? That's really the trap. If you're long now, you're thinking like, oh yeah, finally I get this move back up. Like AMD has been a complete disaster. Like if you want to sell now after just getting back the last 3 days, that's fine, but this also could be a trap just to bring it back up here, and then the next leg is to the downside. So just remember that, like Neil and I, when we have these positions on board, this is not something that is like, you know, held overnight. We have to be flat at 4 p.m. So you'll be seeing that. That's why we talk about those imbalances and being so key. What I was getting nervous about, and it's a red name for me today, so we've talked about this. Again, I shorted Amazon there, again there, but just wondering about it right now. That's that 118 with a high of 118.80. I'm going to try it. So I'm going to go short right now, again, against that position. So we just punched in the short. So like right there, 118.10. You break it, fine, man. I'll get out of this name. There's no doubt about that. So let's see if this is a level that I have to worry about. And just watch the risk to reward on this, right? So we're short now at 90. If we get out, it will be a 20-cent hit, right? All it needs to do is get right back here. That's 20 cents right there, back down to 70. So I don't know if it's going to come in or not, but we'll wait to see here. The target is always going to be this 200 period. We haven't seen it yet, so that's probably too low for this Amazon trade. But again, into here might be kind of nice. 117.60, 117.50. That gives us the risk to reward that we're looking for. So let's hold this Amazon against this 118.10, see if it can give it to us or not. But here comes another trade brought to you by Wu-Tang Financial, because
we didn't even ask him if he knew who.
I mean, look, I could probably tweet at him or whatever, but I don't think he knows one member of Wu-Tang.
He's now had a long time to look to look it up if you want to.
That's the problem. So we'll wait to see there what happens with that. But yeah, that is a thing there. So we'll see. We're just kidding, of course, about Wu-Tang Financial. But if they want to sponsor us, hit us up.
Hell yeah. I mean, that just gave me some ideas, actually, Wu-Tang. But that green screen is giving me some ideas as well.
Yeah, I love that green screen.
Look, it's going to be great. I think we're going to be able to do some fun things on Fridays as well over there. Mullen, I feel like they just did a semi-rug pull on Mullen here. It got up to 37.5, and then there was bid evaporation till about 36. So watch out for that. I think it could get a little bit dicey. We're on the march. We're on the march back up to that 37.40 level on the ES. So as we get there, I got only Uber, but Tesla's about $1 away. You're about 30 to 40 cents away on Apple. I'll get this one out of the way. You guys know exactly how I'm going to vote. No gross to that poll, which is like pineapple pizza on Friday. So I'm voting no for that. But you guys vote as you like, and I'm sure we'll respect it anyways, because that's how we do around here.
It will be a yes because people want to see you eat it.
Well, that's the funny thing. Like I'll do my diligence. I got to vote no because I got to keep it real. I'm not going to vote just for the fun of it. I'm going to vote what I believe, which is it's gross. But I'll eat it if you guys make me. That's just how it kind of rolls. So here comes Tesla. I'm out of Uber, 5-cent stop. We're approaching these highs. There is 37.41, so you're right on that top. This is where the rubber hits the road, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, whatever that saying is. But 150 Apple, Tesla 288.50 was the top from yesterday, and 37.4 on the ES, all coming in at exactly the same time. So make sure you have it out if you're trying to short these levels.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter too much about your risk to reward when your risk gets blown out right there. I mean, we finally decided to go short again. I told you that the name that I was wrong on all day has been Amazon, as we've really wanted that short. We didn't get taken out, but we might as well have. That came pretty damn close right there to getting out. I'm going to do like what I did before. Remember when I had those feelings down here that we were wrong on Amazon and we got out some for a little bit of a scalp hit? That's possibly what I'm going to do right now. But the futures just took it out. If I can get 20% out here around 96 for like a 10 cent, or at that point it would be a 7-cent hit, I think I'll do that. This is going to take out that 118.10. So I don't want to average in anymore. Apple just hit 149. How high did that get? 149.84. So it just goes right back to the day's high again for Apple. Like, the thing is, this thing wants, this is why this Amazon is in trouble. This wants 150. It just gets hit every time it goes there. So we'll have to wait out for this Amazon trade, see if it wants to come back down in. I'm sitting here at 96 to take a piece out. Hopefully we can get that, and then that'll be the end of that one. We're still not out yet. There it is. I think we did get hit there at 96 a little bit. So we did get some out there of 96. I took out 20%. That's enough for me. We can hold the rest. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong now, but we just take off a little bit of pressure there. Just making sure that we save our bullets here in case this market does just continue to go upside. Don't want to be, stuck in a short through this high of the day. So we'll take a little piece out there for 7-cent hit. It's only 20%, but if it does pull back down, we will have a nice little winner. I don't think we just wick topped or anything there. It's respecting this period, 50 period. Just keeps on going to the upside. So I would say be careful about any shorts right now. And to be quite frank, AMD is at a level where I should get out. I mean, this is, again, another one of those levels here for AMD. So it's already hit it. This is the back-to-back jack high here because we've already been here before. So there it is right there. Not only were we there this morning, we were there yesterday, and we were there the day before, and we were there the day before that. So you can actually draw a straight line all the way back to the 23rd, and this has been the high for AMD, 68.80 or so. So, you know, I think that's well worth a little talk there for this position.
Look, we're at Tesla 288, and you're going to see on the offer, if you come to my level 2 here, you're going to see on the offer, you know, 14,000 shares on NASDAQ, some decent size on the offer, but somebody just shorted 10,000 clean. Actually, it was 12,000 clean in front of this level. So that's significant size, but that could also just be someone getting out of a long, understanding how strong the market is, and knowing that they're going to be able to get that fill up there. I got so close to getting tapped in there on the Apple short, and Tesla is so darn close. I see these wicks at 288.50, but these are dark pool prints. I did not see this trade north of that price, and this is the high from yesterday that I'm looking at, and I didn't see it actually get there. I'd be short on Tesla if we had actually seen a print within 20 cents of the out. Like, that's what I'm looking to get here. Might just need to get scooped up, so I might just sit on the offer a little bit north of that 88. I'm going to have my stop sort of locked and loaded, ready to go. I'm not going to let that level get taken out. If it gets through the high of yesterday, that's what I'm looking for here. So it might be a quick, maybe snap up, fail break it at 288. I might have to take a piece of this in front of 88 if it can't break that level. But I want to leave some room to be able to add in front of yesterday's high. We're so close. Like, we've now broken that level on the ES, but neither Apple nor Tesla has gone. So there's always a chance that if these don't come with us, then we can't sustain the breakout through that 380, the 3740 level on the ES. And that small buy-in balance, I don't think it matters. It's 136 million to buy. I think that's pretty insignificant. But I will care what happens at 350 because that comes out a couple billion. You don't fight that. I don't care where the market is.
A couple billion, yeah, no way. All right, so we did, again, like our Amazon trade came out. I mean, you saw it take out the high there. I can go over to it quickly just to show you what the chart looks like. I was going to put this back. There it is, right there. It got hit. We got out at that high of the day, and just coincides with there. I mean, now I'm thinking like I want to go short again because we have that high, but going short in this market definitely is not appearing to be the right call. But let's go over to Brent and see what he's got on tap.
Rumble, guys, just popping up here on a volume spike. Apparently, let me double check what this guy's name is. Rusty Rockets has a show on Rumble, and Elon Musk is going to be on said show on Rumble. So that's causing a bit of a spike.
Every time I hear that, I'm like, should I know who that is? I know the Russell Brand went over to, I'm pretty sure, like, it was Russell Brand that went over to Rumble. I know him, but yeah, Elon is always going to make some moves. We were having some conversations about whether it made sense for him to talk about moving his presence over there while in the midst of a bit of an issue with said Twitter. I mean, that maybe you guys have heard too much about. There is the break on Tesla. Just took 288. So I said I'd take a piece but leave myself some room. So I did. I'm still leaving myself some room to get more above 88 and then work toward that high from yesterday. So I'm just looking at yesterday's high. You're now cleanly above that breakout price. Apple is at 149. 80 it looks like we got to. I just got a tick in at 79s. Good year. I don't know why. But if 150 breaks, if yesterday's high goes on Tesla or Apple, I'm just going to be out of these trades, right? I want to go tight risk to reward. Obviously, the scalp of Google was maybe the wrong call. I could have held on to that long. But I want to try to be in and out here, hopefully like a little bit of a ninja, and know that my out is going to be very, very defined. I'm not trying to hold Apple past 150. I'm not trying to hold Tesla and get cute about it past that high of the day. We're going to get clean out if those are broken. Here's a look at what Apple is doing. Apologies for these wicks up here. I can tell you that Apple has not broken the 150 level, obviously, even though you see a couple of wicks above. Those are just dark pool prints from earlier on.
Yeah, I'm short Apple here as well. Again, just against that 150, whether or not.
Hey, what happened? Oh,
again, I still feel like it wants to break, but it's such a key level, 150. It's a psychological level. Whether or not it breaks today or not, it doesn't really matter. This has been such a huge successful day. We're still down on Apple. So again, there is some potential there for that to turn around again and make its way back down for sure, at least here to the 50 period where we kind of got out, which was, I mean, now it looks silly to get out, but we'll take that short again, 149.30 as a possible target. We are now $2 in the money as we'll go I don't know what to do. We'll just go, that was a good idea. This is the same trade from the morning. So if you guys are on PDT or anything like that, look at the kind of damage that we're doing here today. We bought this name at that bottom and blew it up to the upside. So I see some people on YouTube like, flexing this and that they've got, monster winners on different stocks, and they put up their, the kind of gains they have and things like that. But like, if you bought calls on AMD, this is one hitter here today, all the way to the upside, straight fire right there. And by the way, I mean, here comes Apple fading off a little bit there. I'm going to take a piece out. I mean, if this fades back down in, we definitely want to have something on board for if and when this name will come down. Just like that Apple trade down there, 145 long. I mean, now it's up to 150. So, weekly options, things like that. You can trade the positions that I'm putting on here via options as well, which a little more dangerous there. And I don't, we have Daniel Shea, she's on mat leave right now. We will try to get someone else in here for you, but options a very dangerous game. As there it
There's
is.
There's different
right,
liquidity for different options, like not.
Yeah, you might want to. Yeah.
No, but I mean something like Apple, AMDs, they're going to have good liquidity. It gets a little bit more dicey when you're talking about a smaller name, right? Because then sort of scalping and playing spread and getting in and out intraday on options, on some of these options, weekly options, you just got to make sure you're trading the right things. The big cap, you're going to be fine in the big caps. That Rumble, by the way, is pulling back to 13. It is bouncing a little bit. Tesla's stronger than Apple, believe it. I don't know how that's happening, but Tesla testing that high of the day. So while Apple short is working, Tesla, I said I'd leave some so that I could get a better price. Well, it's not going to matter if we take out that top. So I'm short here at 288.10. That puts my risk at just over 50 cents. Is it a tight stop? You better believe it's a tight stop. That's a very tight stop on Apple, but it's also screaming to the upside. So why would I want to give it a wide berth? Bounces in 10 minutes. I don't think that's going to matter. I think it resolves itself at yesterday's high. Whether or not it's going to break, that's going to happen in the next couple of minutes. I don't have to worry about the imbalances. That's getting put to the test right now. It's not just these. Alphabet is another one right off the top. This is actually turning. So Tesla testing the top. It might actually have to wick high, but you're getting a turn in Apple. You're getting a turn on Alphabet. I'm willing to bet that you're seeing the same thing over in Meta, which I haven't checked in on, but I want to keep my eyes on these three.
Yeah, so AMD, I got my eyes on that as well. We're out already 20% of Apple, as it just gave us that risk to reward, right? I mean, we're short at 80. We got a 62 print there. Our first print is 64, then we got a 62. So right there, roughly 1-to-1 against that 150. So we're taking a piece out there and going to hold the rest. We do have a 150 bid to come through, so if that comes, we'll definitely grab that, and then we'll be out of 30%, and then we'll just hold the last 70%. And see if we do get this retracement back down here for Apple. But on that note, that little wick bottom right there, I'm going to play that as true. So 68.50. I'm putting the order out right now to get out of AMD. 68.50, something like that. We'll get out if it breaks lower. So that order is now in for AMD. So if that comes out, I mean, look, we're long at 666. We tweeted that out right there. So if we can get out at 666, then yeah, that's again a $2 move. But we're going to wait to see if it does tick a little bit lower. Apple's retracing back up, all good. Our out is what it is. What's up, Rendo?
A state of the market, perhaps, but it seems like there's one or two or three of these even a day now. WK, the latest on M&A rumors, guys. Big move.
Yeah, I saw someone in the chat talking about that. So there you go, Squibby. M&A rumors. There's one or two of these a day. I'm going to be out. We'll do this one. I don't want to hit the flush. It's you can't use the flush when the market's going up. So we'll drop down in a hole. Tesla took out the top. Like I said, Apple holding a little bit. Now I feel, now that Tesla's sort of gotten out there, I don't have to really watch it as much there, just to make sure I don't miss my stop. But Meta was the other one I wanted to get to. It's right on its high at that 142. I just keep looking at why I would have liked the long through this level. We're not really breaking down. Volatility sort of hanging around. You're not really getting a break one direction or the other there. Off these highs, however, you are seeing some extension in the market. I'm going to go to my black chart because I've been showing you guys the ES, but you are solidly through yesterday's tops on the NASDAQ, right? So you're about, 30, 40 points above these tops, taking out the next level. I do have a resistance drawn from way back when, about 50 points higher. But don't read too much into that. I don't remember why I put it in there, how long ago that level was. You're through the tops on the NASDAQ. You're 5 points higher on the ES as well. At this point, you're just looking at that even dollar 150 on Apple, which is about to come in here. And as a day trader, it's like the other day, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go long in front of, I think it was like Intel at $30, short in front of Apple at 150. short in front of Google at 100. Sometimes you're in these trades as a day trader because it makes some sense, risk to reward. That's the reason for it. You're going against the grain when you make that trade. You have it defined out. You're looking for that R&R, but you have to understand you don't get cute about these. You can't just say, well, I think it's going to work. No, you're getting out if it takes out that high. I'm not giving back everything from today on these trades. I do think you have to respect the fact the market's going up. If it's earlier in the day, maybe give it an extra 10 cents. Maybe you get a wick off top. I'm not playing that game here today in this market.
All right, here we go again, guys. I mean, the name is Apple, and the game is 150. So you're right up here right now. I'm just happy with the way this market's moving and the way Apple's moving right now. Obviously, we wish we still had the long. We do not. This is why, as Neil's taught me, you never speak in certainties, which is why I looked over to Ian and Pratt and said 0% chance. They doubled down on it, but there it is right there. A big move up.
This is what
I think we touched 150, according to our chart we did anyways.
I saw 97.
I don't know if we did. Let me check.
I thought it was like
eSignal.
97. I don't think we did, but it's close enough. But another reason why I like
eSignal has 150.01.
Oh, really? Okay. It didn't break, man. My stop didn't trigger, so I don't think we broke.
So my stop was a little higher. So what did you put your stop at?
I have 01 trigger.
Yeah.
So
I had mine a little higher, like 08 or so. So mine definitely did
we're
trigger.
splitting here.
Yeah, no, but I have it right here. eSignal says 150.01. So there it is. We'll go excited about that one. But again,
do you know why I love the book Thinking in Bets?
Yeah.
Is because you should never talk about certainties, and the reason why you talk about thinking in bets is because neither one of those two would ever make that bet for. It doesn't matter the odds. Like, it's just, you would never say, okay, 0% chance. That means you should be willing to bet anything on that outcome. You should be willing to bet your entire life savings. If you're saying 0% chance something would happen, that means you bet your life savings on that.
Right.
And no one would ever do that. So why would you think in that kind of certainty if you would never bet in that kind of certainty?
I mean, it was just content for the show.
No,
anyways,
I'm just having fun with it. That's why I love that book, man, because it's so true. If you think something's 100%, then you should be willing to put your life savings on it. End of story.
Yeah.
And if you're not, then it's not 100%.
Right. I mean, 100% is like. I mean, the Jays making the playoffs is 100%. I think
I don't think we.
Is it? Well, the Yankees clinched
our magic number
the AL East,
2.
so that I know that's 100%.
Magic number is 2 for the Jays.
Oh, okay. So that's not bad because there's still 10 more games.
Soon to be 1 after tonight. Go Jays.
Yeah. Who's on the mound?
Oh, good question.
Barrios was yesterday.
It was Barrios yesterday.
It might be chicken strips. Could be chicken strips. I don't know.
Hey man, he's pitching well.
Yeah, that's his nickname.
If we're not pitching Barrios in the playoffs, dude.
We better not be.
We're pitching Ross Stripling, who's having a career year. Here comes 150.
There's
it's about
150.
to break. It's about to break.
There's 150 on Apple. It's about to break right now. Not even that much size there, but remember, there are dark pools hovering deep in the night. Someone had a funny quote there on the chat. I want to say what's up. It's just going to break, so whatever. I'm just going to get ready to get out. There we go. We're out of that one. And there it is. There's that certainty of $1.50. It definitely broke there. AMD doing its own dance as well. But I want to say, someone put something funny in the chat as we talk about dark pools. They said Citadel just moved their head. This is not true. Probably just moved their head office to Florida so they can make insurance claims with the tornadoes there and the hurricanes. But I just saw it hit. Did it hit landfall at a Cat 4? I think it did. That's not great, obviously. So we want to give our shout outs to everybody there. Hunker down or get the hell out of there. I don't know what the strategy is, but be safe, be well, and I hope trading is a profitable one for everybody today, regardless of where your location is. But be safe. And I got to give a big shout out again to True Trading Group. Thanks for the sponsorship for sure. Now I'm logged in as my own YouTube account, so I can see everything now. And then again, there's 50 memberships sitting there as well. So thank you for that, True Trading Group. Become a member ASAP. Just click that, and there it is. Yeah, set the fireworks off.
I wanted to hit the confetti, but
should have gone long on Apple, but again, that 150 break.
The initial break actually sucked because when I hit it, and you're like,
did
okay,
it go back down?
The first push. I always like to get out the first push. The first push was literally the 10.
Okay, yeah.
So it was a pretty weak first push, and as always, especially this late in the day, I'm going to get a bunch out in the first push, and I actually don't even want to give this pass. If it breaks below 150, I don't want to. I'm not even holding it because we're at 347 as I look at it, and I'm talking about the time here. So you're a couple of minutes to the imbalances. Literally long at the high of the day is probably not the best look as it heads to 350, especially on a break like that. But a level that big, it was 100 and something thousand shares. I think the reversal made sense. It was better on Google at 100 because there was time for it to at least go. There's not much time for this to extend, but I'll hold on to a piece of it anyways and just see what happens. Brendo.
Just seeing this JAMF, J-A-M-F, big move down. Did bounce off of 22, but heavy volume coming in downside. This is another software company. So that Workiva that I showed you before is a software company, M&A rumor. So this might be along those lines, but they actually acquired another company as well. This was going back to the 26th. So a heads up on JMF downside move.
Yeah, I know. We should. That's what I mean. We should do those again. Rob talking about those on location. We used to stand in front of the green screen that we had. It was just like one of those pull-up screens, and I would stand in front of the Eiffel Tower and be like, "I'm live here in Paris, France, to discuss the the French markets and blah blah blah." But now we could do that right there.
I just remember. I remember how we used to come up with those. Like I remember I would spend time trying to find like backdrop locations.
We had
that
Amsterdam,
were
the river, the water there.
It was fun though.
Was it fun?
But another thank you out here to True Trading Group, not only for the 50 memberships, but the super chat. They super chatted us working on phones internet here in South Florida.
5G.
So there you go. Internet's still working out there. Of course, everyone be safe. Hey, be safe. No hero stuff, man. I always say this, like, my family's from the Caribbean, so you don't mess around with hurricanes, straight up.
No, not Mother Nature, period.
Yeah, do not play with Mother Nature. We get lucky out here.
Mudslides.
We're lucky in Canada. I know somebody that almost didn't fully evacuate. There was a mudslide somewhere in the Caribbean.
Nasty.
It's like they held out, they left 2 days later. I'm just saying, man. I remember they showed the video, and it's like, it's a good thing you eventually got out of Dodge, because it's not worth it, man. Things can be replaced. Like people, like that's all it is, man. Things can be replaced. Apple now going, so I'm an idiot for getting most of this out when on the initial push. It looks like it's going to continue to try to go. It just got to the quarters, still heading to the upside. Tesla is still running. And remember I said, if you're going to take shorts on some of these levels, like make sure you have an out. I had my out. It's still testing that high of the day. I hate these wicks up here, but you're still respecting the top. In theory, you could still be in this saying, yeah, it could fall. Fine, but then what happens if it goes to 290? Like, what are you going to do then? You have to have an out in your trade. So whether or not Tesla could drop at $2 from here, and I would not be saying anything positive about the short at all, because you had to have an out in this market.
All right, and on that note, couldn't have been better said. We are now out. Fire off the cannons again. What a great day for trade. One more time as we finally get out of our AMD for clean $2, man. In early. This is officially, I think there was a trade I held right to the close before, but this is one that we sort of meant to do that. Another 50 from the True Trading Group. Thank you so much, my friend. I'd call you by your first name, but I don't know if you want that. But yeah, thanks again, True Trading Group, for that. Okay, so a nice little move to the upside for AMD. There it is. We'll ring the register on that one. We'll belly dance this off right here, but close your eyes if you don't want to see that. But there it is, a nice little move to the upside for AMD, and now we're out. I just, waiting for 50, like, I was just going to get out always at this 50 period. So getting out at 46 or getting out at 61 or whatever it was right there, we'll finish it off, end the day right there. And, oh, shoot, we just missed it. The imbalances just came out.
I don't see anything, man. I see Pinterest to sell small, but everything just jumped. Like Cisco's a small sell. Where's the big names? Micron's a small sell.
That is strange.
Like, what am I missing here? J&J is a buy, but I guess that makes sense. PayPal, 450,000. Yeah, Oracle, where? I don't see the big boys, man. AMD, 388,000 to sell. Marvell, I don't see Apple in there. And maybe, I didn't miss them. They're not in there, but it did still move higher. It got up to 150.38 or so it's still grinding. I'm not really slapping a trail. If it breaks 150, fair enough. I'll get out. If it gets to 151, fantastic. That's a great number for a lot of reasons. Not just because it's higher than where it is right now, but because 151 is fantastic. A great way to have some mixers.
Yo, let's, 51 proof. Look, only 932. I mean, we've given you, we haven't, but True Trading Group's given 100 free memberships. They only have 900. Don't send any more free memberships, man, because we know we got to get these likes up. At least 1.5K. Over 5,100 watching right now on a random Thursday, Wednesday afternoon. So everyone, please hit the like button, man. You'll enjoy your evening so much better because you'll think to yourself, man, I hit a like on the best live show on YouTube, period. I cannot believe I had the opportunity to do that. Well, now you're my friends is that opportunity. I remember what I got to do tonight. It's Handmaid's Tale. So that's tonight. Again, I think it's I don't know.
Wait.
Their last season is next season, so
Okay.
we'll wait for that. But it's all about Toronto. I mean, it's Toronto is one of the #1 spots right now in Handmaid's Tale, so it's really cool. You get to see the courthouse and the beach all the time, and that's kind of cool. I like that. It reminds me of that show. That Disney one, Red. What was it called? Was it just called Red? It's Red Panda. It's
Becoming Red, Being Red.
Liking Red? Something Red?
You know, the Red Panda
Turning
thing on
Red.
Turning Red.
Turning Red,
So,
I
yeah,
think it is. So
I can't get my daughter.
yeah.
It's a little bit. She's 5, so it's a little bit more mature, I guess.
Maybe.
For
I don't know,
anyone
I
that
can't
doesn't know what the
remember.
theme
Yeah,
is about, but so I haven't really watched it. I haven't watched it yet, but I
pretty
hear
cool.
fantastic things. This market is booming now. Now you're really starting to go. So we're gonna get this chance. I will now I'm gonna put a trail on this because it's stupid not to. But I want 355 to come in because I don't even see Apple in there. I don't see any sizable imbalances. So I want to wait till 355 hits, slap a trail on this. Otherwise, it goes to 151. But thank you so much. Me and True Trading Group, you guys have been fantastic. I don't know if you showed the link, right? So.
Yeah. No, I think everything's
we've
good
already
to go.
gone
I mean,
over.
they're all over this. They're a happy bunch of guys.
But the other reason, if you hit the like, then Aaron Judge breaks the record tonight. And I'm
So
saying that selfishly because I want to witness history. So.
Yeah. You 1.3K guys, get that up to 2K there if you're a Yankees fan. What's up, guys?
Big spike, guys, just quickly on MindMed, trying to get back to the upside. Apparently a group of investors now calling for this offering to be canceled that was announced up here after market yesterday. So big spike there on MindMed.
Oh, boo.
Interesting. I got to give.
Sorry.
Yeah, just another shout out here to True Trading Group there. They'll take the #2 spot, but we're live. You're not live when we are there, True Trading Group. But yeah, you guys can have the #2 spot again. But hey, he's jealous of our production value and believes that pineapple pizza is delicious. So what's up to True Trading Group there? Thank you for the support of the delicious pineapple pizza. But anyways, that's what makes the world go round. Everybody is different. Apple, I mean, it's a good thing that I didn't tell them, ask Prad what the odds of Apple getting to 150-50, where he might have said negative percentage on that one.
Then you'd be in
but
real
that's,
trouble.
Then we'd be in real trouble. Remember he said the other day my math teacher would be proud? Nah, his math teacher probably wouldn't be proud of that. But right there, shout out to Prad. This was a big move today. Look, honestly, I didn't expect, like I said, I didn't expect this move today for sure. Like Apple to get back to only down 1% after starting the day down 4%, or at its lows, like I was saying here earlier, at its lows 145 or so. Apple, definitely with that move to the upside right there today, did not expect that. So it was the hero long. We got out of it pretty quick. You actually could have reloaded that even after I had this trade. So Apple, pretty tricky to buy that bottom there this morning, but we bought some dips, and then that last dip buy was wicked, and then we finally went short, took a little bit of profit, then lost on the last 70% of that trade, and now Apple ripping to the high side. Before we go to Brendan, I just want to check on AMD. So we did get out of AMD. I don't know where my trade is. Oh, it's in the middle there. That's why you can't see it. So our out, not bad, because again, 68.60. We probably would have. I mean, it just bounced off the 50 period right there. Like, wow, no surprise. But that's a good little bounce. All right, Brendan, what we got on deck today?
I just saw an interesting note, guys. Volkswagen pricing Porsche IPO that's coming tomorrow at 82.50, which was the top end of the range for that IPO over on the German market. Here's some earnings, guys.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously Bed Bath & Beyond. I think we're going to be interested in that one, to be sure.
That is tomorrow? Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'd almost forgot about them. I kept CarMax, I don't remember if they're, it's only about 8% short on CarMax. I feel like that used to be higher, but.
Isn't that funny that marketing alliance, that logo is like the reverse of the Volkswagen logo, basically? And that's going to be interesting, man. The Porsche IPO, the largest it might be in European history. They're only doing, I think it's 12.5% of the float, and I think it's $9 billion valuation there.
And we'll be able to look at it.
Yeah, we'll have it up. We'll have it up tomorrow at 8:30. We'll be able to trade that live. We may just trade that live. We have German extension here, so we can trade the German markets there. The Zitra coming through tomorrow, so that should be a lot of fun. And I hate to say it, but when things IPO, it's kind of like, remember when Coinbase IPO'd? What was the price of Bitcoin at that point? Oh yeah, 65,000. They IPO'd. Now you're going to see Volkswagen IPO. into the electric market because Porsche
Last year was ugly.
again. It hasn't been a great year for Volkswagen. For
No,
Porsche.
I'm talking about IPOs.
IPO, no, but that's, I mean, even the car companies. I mean, if you look at Volkswagen, you look at some of those stocks, they have fallen down a little bit there. So not the greatest time to put out a new valuation on a company, but good for Porsche, good for Volkswagen to get that done. That should be real fun. And again, another catalyst. This is the thing. When you wake up tomorrow, if the IPO goes well and is actually bought up, that could rally even just the U.S. markets, period. And then some of those, like you just mentioned, Ford, GM, Toyota Motors,
Still on that 12
TM, some of those legacy car makers, I think are plays even at this point.
But with 2 minutes to go, I see Tony's getting ready there. I did want to shout out, one, I got trailed out of Apple. I said I would after 355, and it didn't continue. However, I want to shout out to Devo, member for 2 months.
Hello.
New to the family, love you, much respect. He says, I'm a fan of Southern, I know you mean rappers. What about hometown hip hop? Was I ever into Ghetto Concept? They're Rexdale. Rexdale's in the greater Toronto area. I was never a huge fan of them. My cousin's a big fan. However, I'm a huge fan, and one of these days I have to do this. Harpoon Missiles, one of the old school undercover in Brampton, from where I'm from. Literally, their lead rapper there used to bounce at the pool hall that I would go to when I was in high school. That's how old school that is. You've never heard of Harpoon Missile, but check them out. If you're into Canadian hip hop, take a shot at them. They have some good tracks, but no one would have any idea what they are. Apple just got back below 150, and I had punched out manually. So that means my stop was still in there, so I just got in and out very, very quickly. I will go now and cancel any pending scripts that I do have.
Yeah, I don't have any either. So with only a few seconds left, we are getting ready to have Tony on the bell. The imbalances look like this. Apple, what a surprise. Oh, it was just a buy. There. Oh, I keep clicking and it keeps going away. There it is. Apple with that buy imbalance still 439,000 shares. So still more to do. It looks like we will close below. This is perfect. Honestly, this is what you want for Apple. I mean, you want, if you're long, you want higher. But now we have a top to work with tomorrow for Apple in case this market is down. We have that 151 top there today. With now only 15 seconds to go. What's up, Growth Manager? We don't have too much time left. Only now 12 seconds. So let's go, Tony. What's up, Tony? Love that haircut, man. LL Cool J. Ladies love Cool James, but it's Cool Tony with only 2 and 1. Ring that bell. Thank you, Tony. And you and Tony enjoy the game tonight. I know Tony will be working. Should be a good one.
History.
I don't know. Will the dome be open or not? I don't know what the weather's like outside, but it was closed yesterday because it was raining.
I kind of hope they close it.
You like it better closed? I like it open.
Doesn't the ball fly better when it's closed?
I mean, if
I'm
Judge
trying to see a
means-
home. I want to be.
I know.
He gets a hold of it. It doesn't matter.
I think it flies
man.
better if it's open, because then you could get. Obviously, it's going to depend on wind and everything like that.
I should know
but
that, to be honest with you.
You really should. I'm surprised you don't, actually. All right, Brendo. I hate to ask you, but where did the markets wind up today? By the way,
Waiting for the last refresh to come through here to show you guys. Here we go. 2+% kind of day right across the entire board here. 205 for the S&P, 221, 206 there for the NASDAQ. So a nice look. It's actually the Dow that leads, surprisingly, after the NASDAQ did most of the heavy lifting throughout the afternoon. 4.5 for crude oil as well, as we said, erasing that prior almost 5% day downside. 2.5. Nice bounce for Bitcoin as well, guys.
Yeah,
we
nice to see.
We didn't even look at crude, man.
I mean, I talked about it, and thanks for the love, man. I mean, just a couple days ago, look, Neil and I will talk a lot about a lot of names, and honestly, I think this is one of the more, overrated things that we do, and that is like yesterday I was talking about CVX, and then someone tweeted at me and was like, oh man, that was such a great call on CVX. I'm up like XYZ on it. Now the chart won't load when I want to talk about it, of course, but that's okay. Anyways, it was just, I was talking about oil, buying the dividend, buying the aristocrat, and buying the company that has one of the biggest offerings, share buyback programs out there in Chevron. So that's why I did mention that. Oh, there it is. Now the chart's loaded up here, Fahad. But, and it was just off that bottom. They bought it. Nice little move upside. We'll see where it goes. But again, I'm just shooting stuff out. Like we always do have ideas back and forth. But I mean, Chevron, again, I've been buying names in the oil patch. So I like oil at this level. It was a little scary there, breaking back below 85, which was a level. Now we seem to be all good. All right, man. What a great green screen there as I see Justin over there. It's been fantastic. I'm so excited to use that. There's so many more things coming through, man. That MindMed piece of news is interesting. We'll look to see about trading that tomorrow. But
for sure.
yeah, what a fantastic day. A big thanks to Mark. A big thanks to Rob. Everything looks fantastic, man. I can't wait to get using some of these new features on us. Brendan's always looking for earnings, so that's fantastic there as we go. But the trade of the day was not Apple, Tesla. No, what?
It was Meta, believe it or not.
It was Meta as your trade of the day, so stay tuned for Neil. Right after this, you don't have to change channels, nothing. Stay right here. The trade of the day will be coming. Anything bugging you there, Brendo? You're good? Okay. So check us tomorrow. Make sure you sign up for the watch list. Now that earnings season is here, watchlist.tradertv.live. Brendan does a great job. Brankos, Neil, everybody helps in on that. So make sure that you watch out for the watch list every morning. We'll have key earnings, key movers on there. Watch us tomorrow, 8:30. We're back live. Enjoy the evening. Go Judge.
Yeah, get him.